And we're live. Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Today I'll be going over the October SAT results. I haven't seen Reddit since like a day and a half ago, so I'm gonna go and double check Reddit, and then after that we'll see what comes into the chats. Actually, I just realized I probably should make a quick announcement. Starting now. You guys can join on Discord if you want to share your screen, your QAS, etc. And yeah, this invite goes out to everybody, by the way. If you want to share like your actual QAS, your QAS screen share, like you log into College Board. I strongly recommend logging in before, so no one can see your email and stuff like that. But if you want to do that, you can join, and you can join the Discord server, get into this audio channel, and then share it on YouTube this way. Okay, I'm gonna just I have comments to get through, but okay, no comments there. Let me just look up Reddit real quick. Reddit, International SAT October score release. Oh, I just want to double check actually. Do we have the QAS PDF out yet? QAS, no. Still May. Still May. How about that one guy, McElroy? Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Feel free to share the deets, and I'll respond to you when I get the chance. I'm just looking for 2022 if it came out yet. Okay, so there's no PDF version of this right now. Oh, dude, I just realized I put it on subscribers only mode, which I actually did not intend. It was sort of an experiment, and I have to actually change that setting. And I vaguely remember being able to change that setting somewhere in real. Where was that setting? I can't find it. I'm right now. What I'm doing is I'm looking for. Although if you aren't subscribing, you guys should subscribe. But where is the setting to turn it off? That's weird. I remember doing this once before, but I can't find it right now. Where is this interface? Pop out chat, maybe. There we go. That is crazy, dude. Literally, that's the craziest interface. It's so impossible to find this. I think I found it. Nope, that's not even it. That's not even it. That's annoying. Wait, so do I have to restart this? Do I have to restart the stream just to be able to allow other people to chat? I'm like legit confused about this. Might as well show you what I'm doing. So right now, if you see, hey G, what's up? I went through all of these lists, and I vaguely recall that there is a way of changing who can chat in real time, and it's not happening right now. It doesn't work. Like none of this stream markers. Oh, dude, I should totally use that in the future. Anyway, and it's like not even. Oops, you're not allowed to. Well, it doesn't matter because all this stuff is already live. So, Aman, what's up? Very weird. Very weird that that setting is not visible right now. So, guys, today, if you want to share your score, please just either join the Discord server or share it on or subscribe to me for 5 minutes. You can unsubscribe afterwards if you don't care. Okay, so I'm just gonna get into it now. So this is the US curve. And the October mega thread. And we got -1, -6 gets down to, ooh, you could get 6 wrong and get 370. You could get 9 wrong and get 350. That's interesting. Hang on, let's go and double check this. I'll just use the College Panda. Wait, what's the score calculator? Here we go. This is obviously, College Panda is like not the best resource, but it was like but it's like easy to look up. It's not the best because it's not super comprehensive. They sort of like stopped at some point, but I don't know of another thread in Reddit where they organize all this anyway. So here we go. For the reading, if you could get -9, you would still get a 350. So let's just look at the so this is for -9, that's 43. And yeah, that would be considered one of the hard ones. That would be definitely one of the hard ones. Oh, I'm really excited to take this test, dude. I really want to take this test. So the October 2022, you could get -9, and you would get 350 on the reading. Writing, you could get up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is pretty normal, so nothing special about that. So math curve was insane. Airplane says. Let me just double check the math curve. I mean, I don't really pay attention to the math personally, so it's hard for me to say anything. But let's check. So the hard math. Yeah, obviously, if you can get 2 wrong and still get an 800, that's a pretty ridiculous math. Test. Now I'm gonna look at this. That doesn't seem that crazy for US, man. Hang on. You know what? I'm gonna switch over to my iPad because the Chrome sharing Chrome is very glitchy. So give me 1 second to do a little bit of like a technical bit. Move this over. No, it's kind of janky looking, but now you see it on my. Okay. So now you should be able to see my mouse, which is better. I'm just thinking about this right now. You could get 5 wrong and get 770. That is still kind of interesting, I guess. I mean, compared to the math that I know. And then if you get 12 wrong, now you're 670. So there's a lot of clumping around here, huh? There's a lot of clumping around here. 1 through 6. 1 through 7. And then suddenly, so a lot of people were able to stay within 7 wrong. And you know, you see this jump from 750 to 730. So that's where we start finally kind of like, basically there was a lot of pressure in this area. So what they should have done is added a couple of additional, you know, like second hardest questions to kind of filter this out and spread this out a little bit better. So I'm looking at this just compared to previous curves. So for this, hang on, what happened? If you get -7, you get 750. So, oh, I guess that is considered really hard. Yeah, but it's much more clumped around. It's much more clumped around. So it seems like it's a better design test than compared to January 2017. It does seem like a better design test. I still want to know how to like change my chat setting, but whatever. Guys, if you can't chat right now, the main reason is because you're not subscribers, and it's just this thing I turned on. It's this thing I turned on assuming that I could like turn it back off whenever I wanted, because that's what I remember being able to do. But yeah, if you want to chat right now, just subscribe for 5 minutes and you'll be able to chat. And if you don't like me, you can like unsubscribe. It's fine. It's all good, yo. Yeah. So that curve that's a hard curve, man. October 2022. That's a hard curve on the US test. It means that the test must have been pretty difficult. Also maybe you know, a lot of students did well on it comparatively. So then you're competing for those top scores. So good job to everyone who got their score improvements on this test. And good job to everyone who didn't freak out and panic during the test. You used the order operations. You kept things moving. You kept things like running smoothly like a well-oiled machine. Okay. You didn't get all janky and change the way you take the test in real time. So good job to everyone who got your scores. Now, by the way, if anyone wants to share their score, I'm willing to comment on it. So share. Just looking at this right now. That's a confusing question because this was October. $39.5. This is good advice, honestly. Please do not put yourself through that for 10 points. You know, is it worth the 10 points? Could you be building something? You know, could you be like expanding an organization? You know, can you be doing anything else with that time, please? Like, can you like make? Can you do some like scientific research? Can you like write? Can you write? What is this? Why is this being so? Why is that even being? That's so cringe. I've never had that recommended to me. What the hell? And then we have like with your time as a senior, you really should be focusing on your applications and just kicking ass at school, really. And the SAT for 10 points is not worth it. Really happy with my score for my first time. Harvard and Yale. Should I retake? So for napalm, unless this guy is sort of humble bragging, which could be the case. But for someone like napalm, I actually don't. I wouldn't be against retaking. Just as long as that person doesn't put like any like maximum takes like 5 hours of effort maximum. If you're not doing too much more effort to try to get a higher score, really I think that's fine. If this student is also not a senior yet and is like a junior, or maybe sophomore, you could just retake it sometime next year after you finish like a whole year of classes. And naturally, what should have happened between sophomore and junior year, or junior and senior year, what should have happened is you should have gotten smarter. You should actually be a better reader and a better writer even. When you are young, every single year you're growing so much in your academic abilities that like there is a noticeable impact. So what you could do if you are someone like Napalm and it's your first time and you got 1570, you could just be like, well, why not, like it's October 2022 in like May 2023, or maybe October 2023. You could just be like, yeah, maybe I'll try it again. And then just try it. And if you're, spend like 5 hours of test prep, that's fine. Just a tiny amount, something that doesn't like interfere from all the other awesome, dope things that you're doing, something like, I don't know, you're developing some new vegan coffee recipe or something. I don't know. Like, whatever you're doing, just do that. But then, a couple hours and then a couple hours and then one Saturday morning, and then you could just see if you could get a 1600. Why not? If you believe that it's not a fluke that you got a 1570 because that's your ability and your ability is only going to increase over time, then yeah, why not? Just take it again. So I disagree. See, like this is such a patterned response. It's almost like a sort of call-in response in church. This is like such a repetitive pattern response. You get this guy who gets a really high score, who does the humble brag. Then you get all these people who are triggered, who are like, bruh, that's good enough. Because, these people are, struggling to get like a 1530. And this bastard says that he or she got it in, one try, 1570, one try. And, and so this is just such a typical Reddit interaction. And it's, these are just unexamined emotions, like kind of surfacing. Sufficient, no pointer, retake. Like this guy got 1580, right? Napalm Stars could easily get a 1600 next time. Potentially. We don't really know anything about Napalm Stars. But like, of course, if I got 1580, I'd tell this person, hey, that's good enough. Like, just come on. Like, it's not about what other people think. But here in Reddit, we're playing this sort of coded dance. We're dancing around these numbers. and people are all like, because it's natural. You're 17, you're 16, you have all these insecurities about your scores and stuff. It's normal It's normal. It's normal to have accidental erections when somebody says 1580. It's okay. You guys are all effed up. Like, your lives are all like skewed towards these kinds of weird social markers, right? And when somebody like humble brags about their score, then there's going to be all these automatic reactions. Forget all that. Focus on you. If you can put a little bit of effort to get a lot of good, do it. Even if you put a little bit of effort to get a little bit of good, but that little bit of effort was even littler, okay? Was even littler than the little bit of good that you got, sure. Like if I'm going to go from 1570 to 1590, that's a 20-point increase, but I literally just woke up early one Saturday morning. I didn't even study for it. Then yeah, it was worth it. It's worth it, man. Like, why not? Like, why not spend 3 or 4 hours, and 50-ish US dollars, 55 US dollars to just get that, 20 points extra. And then now I have 2 test scores that I can show to all my college applications, college admissions offices and whatnot. I can show them both. Hey, Harvard, I only took the SAT twice in my life, once in my junior year, once in my senior year. I went from 1570 to 1590. Academically, you shouldn't have to worry about my intellectual capabilities. I'm solid. Please focus on the rest of my application now. Please focus on the ice cream making, the ice cream making synthetic arm that I just made. Please, whatever, like whatever the hell you're making, whatever the hell you're doing with your life, that should be the focus of your application. But if the SAT is like low effort for you, go for it. Going back to your question, Airplane, do curves typically fluctuate per test during the year, or do they remain around the same during each testing year? Wait. No, they fluctuate. They fluctuate because because it's not easy. First, because it's not easy writing tests. So sometimes you will unintentionally make a test harder, or sometimes you will unintentionally make a test easier. We can talk about College Board's resources and whatever, and we can be critical about all that in the nitty gritty. But at a high level, it just is hard writing tests. Okay, it's hard writing tests. So sometimes that'll happen. There's variability in difficulty of a test. So as a result, kids who are getting -2 wrong typically on the math could suddenly get -4 wrong. But if it was, theoretically speaking, if they were performing at the same level competitively with their peers, even though they dropped from -2 to -4, they should still get the same score that they were previously getting, which was like 780, right? So that's why on your practice test, you might get -2 and 780, and then on the real test, you might get -4 and 780, because the October 2022 was just a hard test. And so everyone got like -2 compared to their typical scores, so it's like that. For me personally, I actually think the psychological stress of getting like 2 or 3 wrong and still getting an 800 because you're in the top 0.01%, right? I think that is still a better test. But maybe I'm just being too old school. Like in Korean, we call it gonde. What's that? I'm just being a sort of hard ass about this. But like, I think it creates a better data spread when you have like really hard tests. And also, I think it creates a more interesting challenge for the 800 scorers, or even the non-800 scorers, to just like accept it. Like, hey, I'm not going to get 52 out of 52. I'm just going to get the best possible score that I can, right? And so the sort of perfectionistic impulse kind of goes away when you accept that it's actually ridiculously hard. So I kind of like it when the curve is like this. I think that's more, it's more like real life. I know that sounds kind of paradoxical, but like having a test that you're not like able to get -0 on, that very, very, very few people are, like extremely few people are able to get -0 on, and you can actually get an 800. You could get an 800 even if you got, this is international, right? That's the wrong one. Wait, what? Oh, I see. But anyway, yeah, even if you could get like -2 on the reading or -3 on the reading and still get a 400, right? Like I think that's a better test in the sense that you get to accept, hey, this is really freaking hard, and then just work with that uncertainty in real time. For 65 minutes, you're just uncertain, and how well you manage that uncertainty is a really good indication of other abilities that you have, like your ability to kind of stay cool under pressure and stuff like that. I think that's really important as well. Maybe the SAT doesn't try to test those kinds of abilities, but I think those abilities are really important for real life. Is 1540 enough for Harvard? I mean, like, yes, but like that doesn't mean your application is enough for Harvard, right? Like it really depends on your full application. 1540 an SAT score by itself is just a drop in the pool, guys. Like you can get a 1600, and yeah, that's enough for Harvard, and you can still not get into Harvard, right? If you seem like an unethical person, if you seem like your parents like jabbed you with all these GMOs and you're like buffed up. You're buffed up, but that's not your actual ability. You're like perfect at like, I don't know, violin and soccer and trombone and and I don't know, skiing and everything, but like really it was just your parents' design, and you have no personality, you have no soul, and you got a 1600. Oh yeah, well fuck you. We're not gonna take you to Harvard. Like why would we? If I'm Harvard admissions, why would I take somebody who just seems like they were pre-planned they're pre-programmed by their parents, right? So like that score by itself is not that interesting. That said, I mean it is good to know median scores. So go to Harvard median score. SAT score range, and just look it up. Let's go. And you want to, if you're Asian, you want to be above the top. You want to be, like above the top 75th percentile. So, like, if you're Asian, just accept it. You need to be above 75th. You need to be above 75th percentile. Let's go look for Harvard's actual harvard.edu SAT percentile. Please, class profile. Give me a class profile somewhere. Oh, mission statistics. There we go. 2026. Here we go. Harvard doesn't share this? Harvard, why don't you share this? Virtue signaling bastards. You guys are pretending that the scores don't matter. God damn it. It's so annoying. Do you have a PDF anywhere? It's so annoying. Now I want to know who this dean is. It's such like PR nonsense. Please just accept it. These scores are meaningful. God, meaningful does not mean important. Oh my God, I just realized I didn't even like share my chat. I'm so stupid. Okay, guys, let me do a quick technical thing where I share my chat into the actual video stream itself. Oh my God, what's wrong? You know what it is? It's my first time. It's my first time in like weeks for me waking up at 7 a.m. Right now I started streaming at 8 a.m. So I'm just sort of all over the place right now. Anyway, guys, if you're joining the stream and you're not able to type into the chat, just I don't know how to turn off that filter filtering mechanism. I actually wanted to turn it off so that you guys can all chat, but I don't see the option anymore. So you guys please just subscribe for 5 minutes, and then you guys can chat. And then if you hate me, you can unsubscribe afterwards. It's fine. So I'm chill with you unsubscribing. We're good here, okay? No hard feelings. But now the chat is finally visible down here on the video. I'm going back to the Harvard data, but apparently Harvard is not going to. What is this random? I wonder what this PDF. You know what? Let me just try this. Let me actually look at this PDF. Because I want to get actual data from. Okay, so this is like an internal document doing like statistical analysis for certain things, but I can't tell what it is. But it's okay. It's not relevant for me. All right, whatever. Then I have to just use. As long as you're above 1500, your SAT will no longer be a negative influence. I mean, look, even if you, I'm gonna keep giving counterexamples because I want you to really think about who you are and the accomplishments that merit you getting into Harvard. At a pure level, the question is, am I going to be able to not just compete, right? Not just be on the same playing field academically as all the other Harvard students, but am I going to be able to go to a school with extremely smart, extremely motivated, extremely talented people and contribute to that community? Can I be a positive influence in a pool of people that are already extremely accomplished? You have to answer that for yourself, because I'll give you a counterexample, Stephen, for the last thing you just said. So is it right to say that as long as you're above 1500, SAT will no longer be a negative influence? Not necessarily. You can be above 1500. Like you could even be above 1550. Okay, you could be like 1570. Let's just say 1570, just for argument's sake. You're at 1570, but actually you took the SAT like 8 times. Okay, you took the SAT 8 times. So you took it starting in 2020, and then you went to 2022, and 8 straight administrations you kept taking the SAT, and you finally got 1570. Now, the Harvard doesn't have to know that. So what you can do is you can use score choice, you can do super scoring, and you can kind of hide how much effort you put into it. For better or for worse, right? Like Harvard has no ability to now decide, well, was this a natural indication of their ability, or is this something that they like hyper trained for? Then at that point, now Harvard's like, well, this student's not showing us all of this student's not showing us all of their scores, so we're gonna assume that this student took it like 4 or 5 times. Okay, but then the fact is that now that you spent 8 summers and multiple summers and winters just preparing for the SAT, during those years, you actually didn't do as much as someone else who got the same 1570, but only took the SAT twice, right? That other person wasn't stressing out about the SAT. That other person was actually enjoying, his little hobby of writing film scripts, for the local for the student club at school. But then he actually ended up getting connected to some director and then interning in Hollywood or something like that. This other student spent his summers doing something fucking dope, and you spent all your summers, when I say you, I mean the hypothetical you, you spent all your summers studying for the SAT. Now, if you did that, then you got your 1570. Whoa, good job on your 1570. Seriously, good job, because your effort paid off for that number. But was that maybe short-sighted? Did you maybe spend way too much time on one thing when you had the rest of your life when you had the rest of your life to worry about. Because if you did, now it's too late. You know, now you're a senior, now you're applying, and you should accept that. You should accept that maybe you should have developed other aspects of your personality, of your character, of your abilities, of your accomplishable goals. You know, like you should have developed other things besides just that SAT score. So, as a counterexample, no, like just being above 1500 doesn't mean anything by itself. That said, statistically speaking, if you're above, I don't know, 1550, you should stop thinking about it. You really should stop thinking about it. But if you look over here, you know, according to U.S. News, okay, the 75th percentile is 1580 for Harvard. So I would say if you're Asian, you want to be above the 75th percentile. So aim at 1580. But then, is this inflated due to the test optional policy? It might be. So if it is inflated due to the test optional, actually, when did Harvard go test optional? By the way, guys, I am not a admissions specialist. It's not the kind of thing I really care to do like hella research for. It's just not that interesting to me. But 2020. Ugh. Is there a filter for finding like... that's kind of annoying. Okay, maybe I'll try 1/1/2020, 1/1/2021. Okay, so 2020. Whoa, that's actually crazy, G. I just read what you just said. Why? Did you say, yo, everybody, follow Saul on YouTube or suck dick? Like, is that what you said? Because that'd be that would be kind of hilarious. And I would be flattered, but I don't know why you would get I don't know why you would get removed. Now, if that subreddit has a thing for me, or when I say for me, you know, kind of against me, but you know, if they have a thing for me, I would be really flattered. You know, it means now I have somebody to fight with. Let's fucking bring it on, dude. Yeah, you know, if the Reddit people are against me, that's actually legit hilarious, and it's a good sign for me because it means that people are jealous, which is weird. But okay, whatever. But people being jealous is a natural sort of. It's like you know, like in video games they have these little achievements, right? That should be one of the achievements as a YouTuber. Like you, it's like people want to block you, people want to ban you from their communities. So I think that's a really good achievement along the way, and I'm really happy that. I mean, I'm not happy that people are trying to suppress me. That kind of sucks, and I'm not happy people are trying to suppress useful information. That sucks. But you know, Reddit is just one community in the whole scheme of things. It's a large and very successful community, but it's just one community in the whole scheme of things. And I think toxic communities like that will eventually crack. It might take years, but it will eventually crack. If you are, you know, if you're being sensitive and protective like that, I don't think that's good. It's not good for the long-term health of your community. Now, that said, this is all speculation because we actually don't know why they removed your comment. Maybe G is misrepresenting what he said. You know, maybe G said something extremely obscene. I don't know, right? But I'm going to trust you. And yeah, assuming that what you're saying is, you know, pretty accurate and that there's no real reason for them to remove your comment, it's kind of interesting. Um, so I'm going to answer. I'm going to go back to what Stephen was saying because I still have like a lingering, like I have a thought that's sort of bouncing around my head. I don't know what that is yet, so I have to catch it. Okay, so let me come back to that in a second. But let me answer a couple of these quick one-offs first. So G6. G, G, that's really awkward to pronounce. What would you say is a good number of times you should take the SAT? I would say a good number is like 2 or 3 times spread out over 2 years because that looks natural. Like, oh, I'm a junior. I just got my PSAT. I just finished off my PSATs. I want to take the SAT now once. So you take it, like maybe in March. Oh no, or sorry. You take it maybe in like December or something, and then you're like, I just finished all my AP tests, so maybe I'll take it again in June, just to see where I am, and then you take it again, and then maybe you're not happy with your June performance, so you take it again in August or October, 3 times, and that's normal, right? I think that's normal. I think it's normal, especially if every single time your test score jumps up every single time. Then what that's showing to what that would show to a college admissions office is, oh, this kid has really been improving on not just his, assuming that you have a bunch of AP test scores and stuff like that and your GPA, and it's all showing that you're doing, the general trend line is your efforts are paying off. You're doing better and better and better over time, right? If that's a trend line, dude, share all of them. Share all of them. And yes, I think 2 and 3 is a great number for this. G, by the way, yeah. I mean, I trust you. It sounds funny to me. And at this point, there's really no more data to work with. So I'll just say, I hope that's not true, really. I still hope that, on the internet, we don't have to get into little, in Korean, we call it 기싸움, which is like energy battles, like nervous energy battles using all my like stress energy, like fighting people with their. I don't know how to explain this in English, but I kind of wish I wouldn't have to get into like hissy fights on the internet with other people who are sort of jealous or whatever. That's not the ideal environment I want to be in. But if it is, then it just is what it is. Just whatever. People will be jealous, whatever. So Gerlong Wei, I think you should send all your SAT scores, especially if the differences are large and if it's pointing in a positive direction and you didn't cheat. I think that's good. I think if you honestly put, like, the question for yourself is, honestly, am I proud of myself? If you are, show it all. Show everything. Why not? Because give them the information they want to make a more accurate assessment of you. And if you have imperfections in your story, that makes you more believable. Guys, you don't have to be a perfect little doll, You don't have to be, like, not everything about you has to, like, shine, okay? You can have little cracks. You can have little blemishes. You can have little scuff marks. You can have scars. In fact, having that stuff makes you more human, more believable, more interesting. Your story is going to be more interesting. Like, let's say for whatever reason, like, I don't want to make an overly sort of like a makjang drama, like a soap opera kind of story out of this. But like, what if you lost one of your parents, either to divorce or to cancer or to a car accident or something like that, in sophomore year, right? And your scores were just not very good, right? And you're very distracted, and and you took the SAT once during your sophomore year, okay? And then, you wrote some essays explaining like kind of like your angle on how you kind of manage that experience. that traumatic experience, and your scores, your 2 or 3 future SAT scores, they're only higher, along with your GPA. It's only higher, along with your accomplishments on paper, and maybe like suddenly a massive interest in like I don't know, family therapy or something. So you do like volunteering, that comes out in your applications. That's not just normal. That's excellent. You know what I mean? It's excellent. It's like amazing that you went through that experience and you like grew through it somehow, right? So why not be proud of yourself? Why not just show it all? Just show your shitty SAT score from your sophomore year, and then show your much better SAT scores in the future, and then it all combines into one story, one coherent story about who you are. So this is something I said on the stream 2 days ago for the international students. It's something I'm going to say for you guys, but you guys have to know, what is your story? Like, who are you, and are you proud of it? Like, are you proud of who you are? Because you better be if you're going to be applying for schools like Harvard. Like, you should find reasons to be proud of yourself, and construct a story around that for yourself, and know that that's who you are. What is your story? If you are happy with your story, why not? Why do you have to hide any part of it? Why do you have to hide the so-called imperfections? It is part of your story. It made you who you are. Just show it. Okay? Like, these admissions officers, at the end of the day, you guys are looking through all these statistics, and it seems like this highly impersonalized, impersonal process, depersonalized, impersonal process, where somehow you're just being stuck into some algorithm. I swear to God, it's not. I swear to God, it is literally like a 25-year-old person who's not even that much older than you, who watches some of the same TikTok and Instagram and YouTube accounts as you. They are going through stacks of papers, okay, and reading your application one after the other after the other. They are human beings. You need to make some sort of impression on them. It's not going to be your stupid 1570, which 100 other students have, okay? That's not an impression, it's a number, right? It's not going to just be your AP scores. It's not an impression, it's a number. It's a number that many other people have the same number of, right? Have the same, right? The impression is the fucking story. Who are you? Like, that's the important part. So, just divorce the SAT, from its sort of rarefied position up top. Bring it down a notch. Let's see. You've not gotten your SAT score for October. That happens. You could be in the unlucky bucket where you have to wait for like a week. So it might take a whole week. Ted, I don't know if you're the same Ted that I know, but I'm going to assume you are. What did I get? I did not take the October test. I was intending to fly out to Seattle, but given my move to Vietnam, I was not able to take the October test. So that there goes my almost last chance to take the current SAT and get my 1600. But actually, I still get another chance in March, because in the US, they're going to be still they're going to still use the current SAT. They're going to still use the current SAT in until the end of next year. So I will probably fly to Seattle or LA and take the test in March. G is asking, did I know all this college admission stuff back when I was applying? No, I did not. I definitely did not. In fact, I think my ignorance was actually helpful, because I do have the same tendency as many of you guys to look up all this information and data and statistics, and want to try to extrapolate this massive aggregate data and somehow apply it to myself, because I have this analytical mind, and I'm constantly Ted, peace. I'll see you in Korea. But Yeah, I also have this like hyper analytical, hyper sort of like worrying and analytical mind where I try to like, collect data and like make meaning out of it. But I'm glad I knew nothing. I'm glad I just read one book about different colleges and their profiles. And I'm glad that I just got the stupid mailers where they send me paper mail, kind of advertising their universities to me. And I'm glad that I just used the US News. And I was like, dude, I am who I am. I love studying. I have, like, for me, my story is, like, I just love learning. I just love learning. So for me, I took 13 AP tests. I got fives on 10 of them. And that wasn't painful for me. It wasn't like a chore for me. I mean, obviously I sacrificed some sleep and all that stuff, but like for me, it was fun. It was fun studying. Chemistry was not fun, I guess. And yeah, that's it. Chemistry was not fun. Everything else was fun for me. Everything else was fun for me to study. I enjoyed it. And I just wanted to go to a school where people like learning, and that was me. And so my story made sense, to me, and I think to anybody that was looking at my application, my story made sense to them. My essay was kind of like off the rockers. It was kind of crazy. My common application essay, and I was trying to be all like literary about it, and I put all these like literary devices in it, and I made like this ongoing multi-level metaphor. With me playing in a band and then me describing a song and then me and my story and my song climaxing at the same time, and like I was trying to do all this stuff on my essays, and I was just sort of being me as much as possible, because I was proud of myself. I was confident in myself. I knew who I was. I believed what I believed about the world, about religion, about the values of my life. And I knew that I was different from other people, that I was especially nerdy compared to other people. And I was happy that I was that kind of person. So I just let that all show. Like, I was not ashamed to be a nerd. I let it all show on my essays. Some people didn't like the way I wrote, but fuck them, because they're not me. They don't understand me. So with all my imperfections, with all my short-sightedness, with even some of my arrogance, I wrote what I wrote. And then I just sort of trusted that some people would think I was interesting. So I was hoping to get into Chicago and to the liberal arts schools and to Columbia. And I got into Chicago and the liberal arts schools, and I got waitlisted at Columbia, So the liberal arts schools, like me and the liberal arts schools, we were sort of destined to be together, because I was definitely, I was definitely all about like learning for learning's sake. What made me love learning so much? Did your parents or environment have an influence? I mean, at a psychological level, the parents, the environments, the external factors all certainly had an influence. There is a right answer to this question. The answer is yes. Just the same that it would have an influence on you, it would have an influence on anyone else. But what kind of influence was that? I mean, a lot of it could have been my mom. I remember when I was in elementary school, when I was like maybe like fourth grade, and then still living in LA. I went to school. I had a bad day. I came back home, and my mom asked me about my day, and I was like, "Man, school sucks," or whatever I said. I don't like school, or whatever the heck I said. When I was in my fourth grade self, and my mom says, "Why?" Right? And then I complain about whatever, and then she says, "Oh, but I love learning." And when I was in fourth grade, that kind of stuck out to me. I was like, "You're an adult. That's not your job. Why are you learning?" That's my job. I'm supposed to learn. But that when I was in fourth grade, it kind of shocked me that adults could be learning. So so I think that kind of helped me frame it as like this lifelong thing. It just always happens if you let it happen. Another influence is I think being poor was a pretty good influence because when people are rich, when families are rich, they get to do things according to plan. But when you are poor, you can't plan things. Things don't happen according to plan. You just have to use the resources you have and hope for the best. And what that meant for me is, my parents couldn't teach me like soccer by sending me to some soccer camp, okay? Because soccer camp doesn't cost a lot of money by itself, but they have to stop working and they have to drive me, like driving costs. Like it's impossible for them to actually drive me to places to do soccer. So instead, I'm just bored at home. I have nothing to do, and what do? I get to learn whatever the hell I want to learn. I wanted to learn soccer personally. I did, but I couldn't do that. So I couldn't play in a team or anything like that. So I just broke apart. I tore down computers. And it's like tried to figure out like how to upgrade this computer so I could play games at like really shitty resolutions. And I just like messed around. I dicked around with things, and I was like learning things on my own. Another influence. I'm thinking of other influences. I mean, there's so many. I like early experiences with math and realizing that wow, you can just get really really good at it, right? You can like math is such a good initial academic activity because it feels like a well contained, like a contained, well defined system in which you can excel, right? Because it makes sense. And I think English makes sense in the same way, but unfortunately, not in the same way, but in a similar way. I think English can also make sense. It could be a contained, well-defined experience. But math in particular, even if like all the teachers know how to teach it, and so it makes sense. And so early on, it's just interesting. And so I was always doing calculations in my head, like whenever I was walking around. So I thought like my early experience with math was really helpful. Yeah, I mean, and also maybe like books, like not having smartphones and just always having books. Like my mom, when I was in like middle school or elementary school, I don't know how she got it, but maybe the library was throwing it out, or maybe there was some donation at the church or something. I don't know, but she got a full set of the Encyclopedia Britannica. No, not Britannica. Which one was it? It's not Britannica, but she got a full encyclopedia set, like 26 volumes, like from AA to AB, right? And the AB to like B, and then like C to E, right? But like this whole like multiple volume set of like it would fill two shelves of my bookshelf right now at home, of encyclopedias. And literally I would just like in like middle school I would just like randomly pull out an encyclopedia entry and then just like look through it, and it's like what the hell is out there, so those are some formative experiences I had with like learning early on. Rohan. Rundown of all the yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be helpful to you guys, and I just want to shout out to other viewers right now. If you are not able to send a message or share your scores, I am happy to like comment on what you've done so far and give tips on what you can do in the coming months. Right now my chat is kind of locked to subscribers who have been subscribing for more than 5 minutes. So please, if you feel, if you want to share something today, please just subscribe. This is sort of accidental. I didn't actually intend to keep it locked this way. It was just sort of a thing I wanted to try, and then and somehow I'm not able to undo it. So You don't have to stay subscribed to me. It's okay. You can unsubscribe, but yeah, subscribe, wait 5 minutes, and you should be able to chat. Okay. It's hard to get around 40 to 44. Yeah, it's hard to get 44 in writing. So, Soyun, I assume you are getting 40 consistently. Yeah, you're not swinging between 36 and 41. You're getting around 38, 39, 40, 41. You're getting that consistently. Okay, so if you're consistent, that's good. If it's not consistent, then there's severe problems that you're not even aware of. Um, what's the simplest advice? Most kids, especially if you're Korean, which you are, most kids, and especially if you went through the Korean Hagwon system, if you start stabilizing around 30, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, right? If you're stabilizing somewhere there, it's because you learned all your grammar. And what's happening is you're no longer reading, because the Hagwons actually teach you not to read. The academies in Korea teach you not to read. If you want to get 44, you have to know all the grammar, and you have to be able to hold all that grammar in your head. But at the same time, you have to read. You have to read from the beginning to the end. I don't want to say have to, but like, it's an easy shorthand. If you want to know what I mean, go and watch one of my streams where I do the writing. But you'll notice I don't do a lot of process elimination on the writing. I don't really even take more than 2 seconds per question, really. I just read. I read, and then I look at the underlying part. I'm like, that seems wrong. And then I have a rough prediction of what the correction is, and then I just choose that one, and I move on. So I do it that way because it's actually more confusing when I do process elimination, because I have to now start like calculating 4 different possibilities, and it's just like overwhelming. So I think it's personally a waste of time to do all this sort of don't read the passage, go straight to the questions, do process elimination. I don't think that's a very good strategy personally. So if you want to stabilize around 44, and I think it actually harms you from stabilizing around 44 or 43, because if you want 43, 44, you need to be really confident in your main idea questions. You need to be really confident in your supporting detail questions. You need to be really confident in your sentence order questions. You can't assume you're going to stabilize around 43, 44 when you're feeling lucky every time that you get the main idea questions, the supporting detail questions, the sentence order questions right. Like, you shouldn't feel lucky anymore. You have to feel like, I know exactly why this is right. And that feeling only comes when you actually do the reading. Like, I can actually, if you want, I can do a stream where I don't do the reading. I take on like the sort of typical strategy, and I've done it before in the past. Not in stream. I've done it as a personal experiment for myself. But like, it definitely harms my confidence when I don't read the thing. I'm like, maybe like, statistically, B is likely to be the correct answer, but I haven't read, like, in my head, I have counterexamples why B couldn't be the right answer, but because I didn't read, like, B is the most typical answer, so I'm just going to go for it. So I'm like 75% sure it's B, but I'm not 100% sure it's B because I didn't rule out the other possibilities, but only reading allows me to do that, right? So again, if you feel like you're getting lucky all the time with those like sentence order, add or deletes, supporting detail, main idea questions, you're not going to stabilize. You're not going to stabilize around 44. This is not going to happen. And so, how do you not feel lucky? How do you feel confident? Read. That's my at least general advice. I bet you're not reading, so I'm kind of curious, what your actual current struggles are. If you can explain kind of based on everything I just said, if you can explain your situation in more detail, I think maybe I can give you more advice for that. By the way, guys, I just want to make another open invite. No one's really sharing their QAS or their scores. I wonder why, because in August, lots of people were sharing their scores. But I want to say, if you share your QAS with me, I will be able to give you very specific advice. Just so you know, like you can share your QAS with me if you join here. If you join the Discord server and come into the streaming channel, okay? If you come into the streaming channel and, you can chat with me here. And if you share your screen over here, like if you share your screen over here and share your QAS with me and the world, I can actually give you very, very, very specific advice. So that's just an open option. Okay, guys, just letting you know that's available for you guys. Now, I want to take a quick break because I need to turn the AC on. It's like hot in this room, in this hotel room right now. And I also want some water, even though I don't have any water here. But anyway, I'll be back in like less than 2 minutes, okay? Just give me a moment. Okay. Back to dude, I'm just thinking I'm thinking about what G said earlier in today's today's stream. It's like shocking to me that they wouldn't really suppress me, would they? Right? There must be some other reason why they. It's shocking to me that would be a thing. Anyway, going back to the chat. Let me catch up on this chat. So. What? That's so crazy. Five of you voted in the poll that I just put up on YouTube, and less than like 3 of you are not seniors. So that means that you guys took the October test even though you're kind of young, which is interesting. I'm kind of curious why. Most of the people who are chatting though seem to be seniors, so I'm kind of like trying to figure out the divide that's there. So GSA. I'm gonna just call you GSA or GS. GS is saying, do you mean that you should approach the writing section like how you do the reading passage where you guess the answer via the stem before looking at the choices? Yes. GS? Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Now, how do you guess the answer? You look at the underlying part, then you look at the surrounding text that you need to figure out why the underlying part might or might not be right. And then you make a rough, you should have a rough like idea, right? Like the punctuation here is wrong, so I'm going to fix this sentence, right? the idea, it seems to be focusing on something that's completely unrelated to the rest of the paragraph. Let me quickly skim the rest of the paragraph. Okay, I'm looking at this underlined part. Oh, it's definitely unconnected to the rest of the paragraph. I'm looking for an idea that's not so much about animals. I'm trying to find a thing that's more about animal preservation. And then you look at A, B, C, D, and you look for the one that has something to do with preservation, right? So you do the prediction first. When you're in the training phase, like if you take tutoring classes with me, I will train you to be going through this a little slower. So at first, like I would actually force you to not look at the questions. Like I would actually put like an index card to cover the questions, so that you have to just edit it directly on your own, and then just try to figure it out on your own to develop the prediction muscles. That takes a while, but once you have those muscles, then it becomes pretty easy. Canadian senior, Ivy, MIT, SAT. You wrote SAT for the first time and got, okay. You took the SAT for the first time. You got 1490. I can't get into Ivy with that. MIT would be pretty tough. Oh, that's a highly personal question. I mean, there's finances involved. There's, like career trajectory. There's depends on your major, Sam. Should you take it again for the top schools in the U.S. or should you go to like what's it? Not Toronto. God, I cannot believe I forgot the name of this school. Out in which Canadian university do U.S. tech companies love? There's that one school that has like I cannot believe I forgot the name of that school. I cannot remember for the life of me right now. Waterloo. Like Waterloo is like you could go to Waterloo and still have a dope ass future. I mean, Waterloo. There's so many Waterloo graduates in like U.S. tech companies, So it's just like the question is why, like be very specific with yourself about why you want to get into the schools that you want to get into. Like you should be excited about the schools that you want to get into, and you should feel confident that you have a fair shot of getting in. And that confidence should be coming not just from statistics, but also from you knowing your story, which is this whole rant I went on like 20 minutes ago. So you want to go into the Ivies. You want to go specifically into MIT. You got 1490. And maybe you didn't study at all. And so if you study a little bit, then you'll suddenly get 1550. Like maybe that's you. Maybe you study like 100 hours and you only got 1490. And if you study 10 more hours, it's not necessarily going to jump you to 1550. Then maybe Ivy League's a little tough for you because academically you might not be at the same level, right? And so actually if you went in, you might get depressed because everyone else is like way faster than you. That would suck. And then you'd like drop out, and the MIT would be like, well, that's not cool. Like it'd be, like there's so many factors. Like 1490 by itself doesn't mean anything. What's the story behind that data? So I would say, yeah, for MIT, that is kind of a low score. It sounds like you might not even have an 800 on the math, right? Or like 790s on the math. So then you'd have to, let's actually look it up. MIT SAT range. Yay, MIT, who actually gives data, because unlike Harvard, they're not being virtue signaling. Like they're not being glib about this thing. Okay, let's look for the 75th percentile is 800, and the 25th percentile is 790 for math, which makes sense. Hilarious. EBRW is ERW. 730 and 780. Like, yeah, that seems kind of tough, man. Like, unless you have a really amazing story. But, like, who you are and your confidence based on your experiences, I mean, that does count for a lot. That said, it seems like academically you might be out of your element at MIT, because like just imagine being in the same class. Like, I remember, like, I kind of wish I had documents for my Amy. When I went to Amy, right, I think I solved one question, maybe two. Okay, maybe no, right? Even one is really hard, right? I don't remember. It's been such a long time. Like, I took the Amy, right? I think I solved like one and maybe something like that, or maybe two, and I was overwhelmed. By this test. I didn't study for it, by the way. I did not know that you could even study for it. I just went just naked. Okay, not actually naked, but I just went, and so I was pretty good at math. You know, I was not bad at math. Okay, but I went to Chicago. I took my honors calculus class, and I got demolished. It was eye-opening. These kids, I was in the bottom. I was probably out of a class of like 15. I was like the bottom two. It was mind-bending how much smarter these kids were than me. Because, you know, who cares what the reasons were? They just were. And imagine going to school where that's how you feel the entire time. You know, that would suck ass. You know, it would suck ass feeling like the bottom two in every single class that you go to. You want to be in a school where you feel comfortable, and you are growing and excelling, you know? And so you really want to, you know, be realistic about like your academic abilities and just aim for that. Have some reach schools. You know, it's nice to have the name brand and all that stuff, but like plenty of people, like if you are smart about your resources, you can make a very, very good future for yourself, no matter what school you go to. So be wise with the resources you have immediately and with the opportunities you have immediately around you. So I would say, I would say 1490 on your first time, especially if you studied like dozens and dozens of hours. That does indicate that MIT would be pretty hard for you. I think even if you did get in, it might be a very stressful experience. So I am disagreeing with GS a little bit. Like I think the SAT is something where you want to clear the minimum bar, and then your story is what matters. And the SAT is correlated with IQ. It just is. So there's no going around this. Like, it is correlated with IQ. So that IQ is going to take you places. Like your ability to calculate things in your head without having to use a calculator or without having to write it out on paper, because it's so easy for you, right? That ability, right? Your ability to do a bunch of if-then logic puzzles in your head, right? Or make arguments like, wait, he's making this argument against this, but the counter arguments are here and here, and these are the potential rebuttals. Your ability to do that in your head, right? That's going to help in college. You can't avoid that helping, and the SAT helps. The SAT partly, confirms this ability that you have. So you want to have the bare minimum, like intellectual prowess to get through these classes without feeling overwhelmed all the time. HS senior is high school senior. Yes. What kind of stories are wow? What kind of stories are wow? Like, there's so many ways of being wow that's hard for me to generalize. It's also, again, I'm going to keep repeating this. I'm not an admissions specialist. I am not an admissions specialist. So you're always, I think you will get more detailed and interesting feedback from somebody who specifically focuses on getting into schools and the essays the essays and the applications that are successful. Okay, I'm not somebody. I've seen a bunch of applications. I've probably seen more than 100, over the course of my career. Probably not over 200 though. So somewhere between 100 and 200 applications. Because I just had to, but it's not something that gives me joy. I don't really enjoy admissions consulting. So I've seen a bunch of essays. I've seen a bunch of people go into Ivy Leagues, and I've seen a bunch of people not get into Ivy Leagues. So I have some rough sense, but I'm not a specialist. It's not my area of specialty. That said, I will say, if you want to have a wow story, like a couple things, hang on, let me remind myself what I used to say. Oh, right. Understandable, believable, memorable. But that's different from being wow. But I guess the memorable is the wow. So I used to say, is your essay understandable? Good job. Now it's understandable. Is it now believable? Does it seem like you were bullshitting? That you're kind of adding details, you're kind of tweaking details, that you don't seem real, you seem overly perfect. Is it believable? Good job. Now you're believable. Is it memorable? Now this is the wow part. And for the memorable, it's just, you gotta you gotta be very concrete with like some sort of image or an experience or a way of writing. And there's so many ways of doing it. It's, like if you take like the AP test, you always, for the writing, for the essays, there's the sophistication point. The sophistication point is not just one thing. It's the full synergy of a lot of things, right? And so the thing that tips you into a wow is like literally just a lot of tweaking. And it's just sometimes there's that one tweak that finally makes everything cohere. And it's like, whoa, that was an interesting essay. And how do you get that? Like, it's a lot of different skills, but I guess I can give some basic guidelines on like where to, like, some things to check in your stories. But are there flaws? You should have flaws. You should be flawed. You're not a perfect person. You're not a perfect person. You should be flawed, and you should be open about those flaws, because dealing with flaws and trying to take a story where you have a flawed character that is you, by the way, and trying to bring that to a conclusion makes you not just more honest, but it actually makes you more creative, because you're processing like, well, despite the flaw, why is this still an important story, right? So are there flaws? You guys try to wipe out the flaws. I don't think that's a good habit. Another thing you can work on is there texture of lived like life. When I say texture, if you're just describing things in a very generic way from like a million miles away, like, this happened, I struggled, and then I was sad, and then and then I realized this, and then I got this, and then I did this, and then I won. Like, if it's really broadly like explained, right? And there's no texture of like specific weird little things that are very peculiar to your experience, like you and your friend in the dorm room cracking up about, like, you're just like laughing hysterically about something that's not funny at all. Let me try to explain. Like, you're
you got the two of you are cracking up because she just mispronounced your name, and then you just like start laughing and laughing and laughing, and it's not funny, but you're laughing, right? And you have this sort of one very specific episode about this laughing, right? Like that is only something that about this laughing in the hotel room where you guys are out and competing somewhere, and and then they mispronounce your name, and you're like an Asian girl or something, right? Like that could stick, right? That could stick. That's like that could be a very memorable scene. Um, Flaws, texture. Moral complexity would be interesting. This is kind of related to flaws, but it could be a different idea altogether. But moral complexity is like making tough decisions that there have no clear black and white answers. I think that would be good. But that's not always applicable to all essays. Not all essays require that kind of thing. But moral complexity, I think the more, you're from an international background, the more that would actually potentially benefit you. But that's just a gut feeling. Okay, don't take my word as like the word of God. I feel like if you have to make complex moral decisions and you're from Korea or China, I think that actually could make an outsized impact on your application, because I don't think not a lot of Korean essays that I've seen like really wrestle with moral themes. I don't know. Those are some thoughts right off the cuff, right? But again, I'm going to just say this one more time. I'm not an admission specialist, so so take it or leave it. I am, at least I definitely used to be a pretty decent writer, so we could talk about that, about how to write better stories. And as a quick tip, here I'll actually do this. What was it? New York Times essay contest. You guys should look at, even though it's not the same, tiny memoir. 100 words is too short. But you could still learn from it. I'm just trying to find. Man, I kind of forgot what these. Personal, okay, third annual personal narrative writing contest, 600 words or fewer. You guys should look at these. There we go. The winning essays, the winners of our second annual, and go and read some of these, and see if what I talked about, was. I see the chat just going crazy right now, but let me finish my thought first. See if what I talked about actually applies. Do you have flaws? Do these stories have flaws? Do these stories have texture? Do these stories have moral complexity? Like, go and look through them and see if they actually, if what Saul is saying actually makes sense by comparing it to real essays. And when you compare it to real essays, you might realize that these people write different from you. They write different from you. They write different from the way you were taught to write. These are also high school students, but they're very good writers, and I think it's very good to learn from these kinds of writers. Okay, so I would say Here, I'll even just share the links here. Okay, these are kind of old, but you can find. Okay, you can find. Okay, you can find these. And get through those. Okay, so let me just clean up some of this stuff. And I'm going back to the chat. So, Daniel, could you pay me? Yeah, you can definitely pay me. I will not charge you 10,000 US dollars. So I will take this moment to briefly explain my, since you're asking, briefly explain my sort of offering here. So you should be able to see it on my screen. Let me put this out of the way to the best of my ability. Here. Can't really put it out of my way. Okay, well. So this is not my main focus, guys, but I will say I am happy. I'm happy to edit your. I'm happy to review and give you either feedback or directly edit your essays for you. Okay. I can edit your essays while you watch, and I can discount it for you if you let me stream it. Let me actually go to the original thread where I did this. So if you look here, my base rate is 100 an hour. Okay, so that's maybe high for some of you. It's actually not that high in Korea. It's in the part of Korea that I was active in. It's not actually that high. It's actually kind of cheap. But that's up to you. It depends on your situation, right? But my base rate is 100 per hour. I do work fast. You can even watch me work if you're concerned that I'm like a corrupt bastard and I'm just gonna watch YouTube videos instead and bill you these stupid rates. You could actually watch me work. You can why bother trusting me, right? I don't mind showing you me working, so you can watch me work, and you can even guide me as I work to kind of be like, Saul, you don't have to focus so much on that part. You can move on, and you can sort of push me along if you want. Grammar doesn't take that much time, but usually you don't only want grammar. You want a lot more than grammar. But if you're already an okay writer and you wrote the whole Common App essay and you just want me to do the final just grammar check, like you use Grammarly already and whatever, it literally will take 10 minutes and I'll be like, okay, I see 2 or 3 errors or 2 or 3 suspicious choices that I think we can clean up, and then I can tell you what they are. I can I can give you some options there, like some alternative ways of writing those sentences. That would literally take me 10 minutes for a whole Common App essay, 650 words, because it's just grammar. It's very easy. I just read it and I just write out an alternative sentence along the way. And then if you're interested, I can actually cut the price for you. I'm thinking 50%. Cut the price for you if you let me stream myself on YouTube doing the work. So I'm streaming, I'm editing your essay for you, okay? I'm writing comments, I'm doing suggestions, okay, in Google Docs. I'm writing the suggestions, and it gets to be streamed. I was taking 50% off, although you should definitely change any proper nouns and names so that you're not identifiable. You don't want to tell the whole world, okay? You don't want to tell all 9 of my viewers who you are. So, you want to change your name probably when you do that. Now, let me just double check the chat that's here. Also, Olamata, if you are in the chat, yeah, you can chat here, okay? Because I am, I will be paying attention to this chat, okay? I have it open in a separate window as well. I have Discord open in a separate window as well, so I can check in either window. Okay. And Olamata, I have a question. What brings you to the Discord chat? Do you want to share something, or are you just joining the stream via Discord rather than YouTube because it's more comfortable? Is there something you want to share? If so, please let me know. Now I'm gonna go and look at your the YouTube chats. Yeah, so some people are pretty some people are freaking out about the 10,000 US dollars number, but in Korea, there's actually kind of the for Korean families that are trying to send their students to America, 10,000 US dollars is actually kind of the cheap option. Nowadays, it's probably not so much. There's probably cheaper options, but I would say that's the average. If it's US dollars, we're thinking, then that's almost like 14, like, like 1,500만 won, right? So, that's actually, I would say, the sort of typical price for 10 applications. So it's not like, it's not insane in Korea. In Korea, that's considered normal. So in Korea, for people who are trying to go to American universities and want additional help from college consultants. So please don't make Daniel feel weird for saying that, because it's actually very normal in Korea. T12 is saying his grade in English 4 is C. Oh, God. Yes. Well, dude, I mean, that's yeah, maybe you need to work on your writing a little. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Guys, if you want me to edit your essays for you in real time, $50 per hour, I should be able to get through like a sort of typical, like, people might say that they want me to just quickly scan for grammar, but usually you don't want only that. You want me to, like, give you ideas on the different ways that the story can flow, like a different way to conclude, a different way to sequence the paragraphs. Usually I could probably finish one of those. I would feel comfortable doing it in an hour and a half. Okay. Like giving you feedback and either writing it up or speaking, I can actually directly tell you. But I would be pretty comfortable doing an hour and a half to just do a pretty slow read through, maybe reread and like kind of like process like how else you could sequence your story and make it and kind of let some of the details shine. In an hour and a half, it'd be pretty unrealistic to actually dig down into the details, because what will naturally happen is when I'm like looking through your story, what will happen is like I'll be like, well, what's the backstory behind this one sentence, and then I'd want to ask you about it, it's like, because that could be really interesting, right? But the problem with this is when I start investigating potential leads, that takes a lot of time, because I'm gonna start asking you things, and then I'm gonna hear your story, and then it's gonna be like, wait, that's not worth it. And then we decide not to put it in. So your essay actually still looks the same, right? But that's the hard part. The hard part is finding the detail that really makes this essay shine. And usually I have to ask like 10 different questions on 10 different parts of the essay to find one thing that will actually make it into the essay, because we're like looking for details now. So your ability to brainstorm is super, super critical. The better you can brainstorm, the less time we can spend on just like digging up details. So I will, a lot of times I just recommend, coming to the session, but not only having the essay draft, but also having a bunch of background notes on like, what else happened, so I can kind of skim and kind of know your background. Alternatively, you can have two different drafts and I can compare and contrast. So then when I'm looking at both, then I can kind of like piece together your story, even without you directly telling it to me. And then I'll learn a lot more about you in those two drafts. And then I can maybe sort of synthesize some ideas from those two different competing drafts, stuff like that. So those are some ways of going forward. With that kind of idea. If you guys are interested, you guys can DM me in Discord. I have no way of being DM'd outside of Discord, but I guess I have Twitter. So you can, here, let me share my Twitter. So if you don't use Discord, you can message me on Twitter. So, yeah, laugh it up. Oh, are you talking about me laughing at your C? Yeah, okay. Could we do 30? And it's a deal. 30 for for a stream. I don't know. I don't think so. I'm just gonna stick with the 50. But if you're interested, I'm not too interested. I don't want to be negotiating right now on YouTube on my YouTube stream. I don't think that's very interesting content. So I'll just say, if you're interested, DM me, and then you can try to negotiate with me. And then see how much you can push me. But I don't know, man. It just seems like money is not the end all be all, but it just seems like, why would I? It's like, so yeah. You can just talk to me through DMs. Krish, deleted, so I don't know what you said. So yeah, that is me editing your essays. Going back to Hope You Fun mentioned Hope You Fun mentioned his score, and I'm trying to figure out Hope You Fun and Olamada are different people. Olamadara. Oya Madata. I don't know. All right. So Allah and Hope are two different people. And Hope mentioned that Hope got 1300, math 770, reading 240, and writing 290 international. Ooh, that is extreme. Hope, you gotta get better at English. And right now, the only way, to make progress on your QAS, if you're going to use QAS, you must, after 65 minutes, you must continue doing it untimed. Now, what does that mean? Well, you can maybe force yourself to finish the whole test in 65 minutes if you're curious how you would do on the real test so far. But right now, you have 2 months until the December test, okay? A little less than 2 months until the December test. So for you, Hope, if you're going to take it in December, okay, for the first month at least, don't worry so much about the time. Read the passage and reread it and even use Google and whatever, right? But really try to understand the structure of these science passages, and then of the science passages first, sorry. So first start with the science passages and do comparisons with different science passages. Do 10 science passages in a row, okay? But don't just read it in a rush. Slowly read it. Identify where the hypothesis is, where the experiment design is, where the results are, where the discussion is, and within the discussion, identify different rhetorical positions. Are there refutations? Are there doubts? Are there doubting voices? Look for these things and try to be at the point where you can be I 100% understand this one passage. Now let me move on to the next passage. And make sure that you can actually understand the passages when you have unlimited time, okay? Doing that is going to make a huge difference. Learning 1,000 vocab words like amnesty, abnegate, ameliorate, agnostic, that's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. Stop with the stupid vocab lists, okay? You need to learn science terminology. You need to learn history terminology, and you need to learn literature terminology. By the way, literature terminology is the one that's closest to all those vocab lists. The history and the science. When you see those vocab lists online, they're not really very useful for history or science. Okay, but starting with the science passages, read them slowly, and reread them until you can 100% understand. If you need tutoring, go and find a tutor. I'm also available as a tutor, but you don't have to come to me because, I'm not necessarily, cheap, depending on where you are in the world. So find a tutor, but make sure you fully understand those passages. Because yes, process elimination, question strategy, all that stuff is useful, but you can get all that stuff for almost free. You can just pay for a book or for some of these online courses where they teach you the question strategy. The thing that you really need though is if you're getting 26 wrong on your reading, you need to understand the reading. You need to understand it better. Okay, so get through that. Okay, so that's my general tip for hope. Let me go back to Ola. Ola Madara. Ola is saying reading 380, writing 360, math 790. You blew your chance. You blew your chance, not you blew up your chance by screwing up your language. Yeah, that sucks, but I mean, that's still a solid score. So, Ala, I do have a question for you. Um, I do have a question for you. What is your uh, like? What's your goal? Like, what score do you want? And maybe even for context, like, do you have a specific school and a specific major that you're applying to? Okay, you're at 1540. MIT Astrophysics. Okay. Yeah, it is pretty lofty. Astrophysics. Ooh. Yeah, brainy guy. Huh. It does seem like you could have. Is this your first time taking that? Is this your first time taking the SAT, or is this your like the fifth time? Like which? How many times have you taken it? And was it like compared to your first time? How well did you do it? This is your second in high school. Okay. Oh, dude, that's pretty good. And how? What grade are you now? You're 10th grade, and you're in the U.S. I honestly would say, oh, you're international. Oh, then you're gonna take the new SAT. Um, okay, I'm gonna say something that I think is gonna be pretty uncommon advice, and I think it would be kind of the opposite of what a lot of people would say for you, depending on where you are in the world. But I think if you're in 10th grade, so in ninth grade you got 1470, in 10th grade you got 1540. Even though the format, oh, yo, how did you get it up from 1470 to 1540? Like, how did you make those 70 points? By the way, Daniel, I do see your message, and Daniel, I just wanted you to confirm: are you comfortable with me switching to the DMs in YouTube? Just make sure that you know that I'm going to switch to the DMs in YouTube, and it's going to be public. So as long as you say yes, I can switch over. Now back to Ala. Yeah, what did you do between August and? So it's not a big difference. Okay. Mm, well, how did you study between August and October? Like, how many practice tests do you think you took? Because that could change my advice. How many hours you think you spent, or how many practice tests you think you took, or how many books you read? Okay, so not a lot. Okay, if I were you, I would just keep studying and doing all the readings at school, and trying really hard to like learn anything that's interesting to you, and and developing your reading and writing abilities. Developing your writing abilities obviously will help your reading also. So just like keep developing your understanding of how a language works, and naturally by the time you're a junior, like if you take the test in your junior, maybe October, even though it's a whole new test, you should be intellectually and academically just prepared. Like you should be at like above 1550 by that point, as long as you do all the work. So are you taking in October? You're a sophomore right now, so you're taking the most challenging English class available to you, I assume. And if you try to challenge yourself on writing by doing like writing contests and stuff like that, between sophomore year and junior year, honestly, by your junior like fall or spring, you should be pretty developed in your literacy and verbal abilities that you can take the new SAT. And even though it's a whole new thing, you know, you just do, yeah, just like what you did today, or not, just like what you did for October. Just, you know, go through Khan Academy, take a couple practice tests, and honestly, you should be set for 1550. I don't think you have to stress out about it. I think you really should be focusing more on, like what dope, amazing, cool, interesting, quirky, strange thing you could be working on right now. What's interesting to you? Like, do you want to develop a vegan hot dog? Do it. Like, do it right now. Make a vegan hot dog in your house and feed it to your parents and see if they don't die. You know, like, do it right now. Like, do something interesting. Like, because people who have interesting lives because they're interested in things and they just keep exploring, they naturally get smarter and they naturally get better reading scores. Why? Because they're going to read and they're going to write and they're going to communicate. You know, you're just going to get better. So you will simply be a smarter person 1 year from now. So just take it again 1 year from now when you're smarter, when you're more developed, and you should have a higher score. So I don't think you need to freak out too much. For all of my sophomores and all my like freshmen out there who are watching, I just want to say, sure, the SAT is changing. And sure, if your parents are talking to a bunch of academy and like college admissions counselors, they'll be like, you gotta take the SAT right now. Just get it out of the way. You gotta get it out of the way. Like, ask them. But what's the, like, my students already getting 1500. Aren't they just gonna get smarter between now and junior year? Like, why do I have to do it right now? Why do I have to take the current SAT? Why can't my student just wait for 1 year? Like, who cares if the SAT changes? These are just superficial external changes. You know, like my student will still be smarter 1 year from now. That's not going to change. So if my student's going to be smarter 1 year from now, then fuck what the test looks like. The test is still just a test of their intelligence. If the intelligence is there, we're good. Who cares what it looks like? So that's kind of my advice. All right. And I think maybe the academies want to, if I were an academy owner, I would feel uncomfortable about my students taking the new SAT with me because I would feel less prepared because I have less materials to use, right? So maybe that's why as an academy owner, I might like be pushing the parents to be taking the current SAT so that I can use my materials that I already have prepared. But honestly, if you're a sophomore, dude, you don't have to, come on. You're going to get smarter. Your junior year self should be smarter than your sophomore year self. So you should just have a higher natural baseline. So you should just naturally have a higher score as long as you're doing the work at school between now and then. Okay. Now Daniel said it's okay for me to double check his DM, so I'm going to switch over real quick. Although, Daniel, next time, if you are comfortable with the... Oh, I see. Daniel, next time, if you are just comfortable with public explanation... Oh, I see. By the way, Daniel, have you ever DM'd me in the past before, or are you a different Daniel? I assume you are probably a different Daniel, yeah? Because I'm just hearing something very similar to what I've heard previously. Oh, but yeah, this is a pretty generic question. So, Daniel, I actually would really, really be happy for you to switch over to... In fact, I would, if it's okay with you, can you actually switch over to the server? I would prefer answering in the server. So just because I don't know, I just feel a little uncomfortable about it all being in like being on my, I don't want to accidentally click on someone's DMs. Okay, so I'd rather be here. So right now I'm in streaming and I'm looking here. Could I explain how my editing session would work? Would we be in a voice call? Yes, we would be in a voice call. Could you guide me on what you want your essay to tell? Yes, you can. Obviously, you should know that every time you interrupt my like writing flow, like it costs time. And if you're not super sensitive, like if you're not paying by the minute, like I strongly do not recommend asking me to help you if you're going to be counting every single minute and you're going to be stressed out because of how expensive it is. If it's like that, guys, please, like there's other tutors. You don't have to don't put that much pressure on yourself, and don't put that much pressure on me. It's too much. I don't want to ruin your life trying to help you. You know what I mean? So please, just there's many options out there. Okay, so if you have some wiggle room, you're okay, paying the price, and you're okay paying up to, like, I don't know, 2 hours, even though we're aiming at 1 hour, right? Then I think that makes everything much more comfortable. Then, yeah, if you guide me on what you want your essay to say, but you're like interrupting my flow, then, I might lose my train of thought and all that stuff, so just be aware that, that would extend the amount of time it takes. But that's good. I mean, I want to know what you think, right? Like, the more I know, the more instant I have your feedback, the more I can immediately change my direction of my approach. So I think that's really good. You're afraid of wasting too much of your parents' money because you've already done a lot of money paid edits. Well, if you've already paid a lot of money and your parents do not understand the sunk cost fallacy, it might be better to just not look under that stone. Just leave that stone unturned. It's like, because worst case scenario for you, Daniel, is that when you've paid a bunch of money, okay, and what happens is, like, I review it and I'm like, well, I have all these other ideas, right? Like, I think this essay should go a totally different way. Then what will happen for you is, damn, spent X amount of dollars getting these essays, have all these ideas. Do I want to spend X more dollars or Y more dollars to implement these changes? Like, that's going to create a lot of stress for you, and you're going to have to make a decision. Like, how do you want to, apply these feedback? Now, for my part, to be as fair to you as possible, I will tell you when I throw out an idea, like, oh, your conclusion could be totally different. It could go this way. Like, I'm not going to say you have to do it. I'm going to try to tell you the pros and cons. Like, if you do it this way, then, we're going to add more flaws into your story. So I think you're going to become more believable as a person, and your story will be more interesting. Okay. But, given how good of a writer that I think you are, like, for you to write that and rewrite that, I feel like that's going to take, this many hours. I don't know if it's worth for you, right? So I'll try to be as open about those kinds of decisions for you, and I'll try to help you make those decisions. But at the end of the day, it will be your decision. So the stress will be on you, not on me. I'm not gonna make the decision for you. So you have to be ready to deal with that kind of stress of choosing between sometimes two good options and just one seems better, and make sure that you are ready emotionally for that kind of labor. Now, if you are already stressed out with all the other things you have to do for school, for your extracurriculars, for whatever, for your church, for your school community, or for your religious community, for your neighborhood, whatever you're doing, then maybe it's not worth it. Maybe the essay is just, maybe you're happy with your essay. Right? So maybe you just want a second opinion instead. And if you just want a second opinion, I could do a quick read. A second opinion, the reading will take like 10, 15 minutes. I just jot a couple notes while I read. So I just take, 10, 15 minutes to read, maybe kind of 10, 15 minutes to read and kind of process like my potential feedback. And then 10, 15 minutes to explain my feedback back to you. So that'd be like 30 minutes or less. And I just give you my feedback without any direct edits within 30 minutes. So that's also an option for you. Now I'm going to switch back to the YouTube chat that says, and Daniel, I can come back to you in a moment, but you want to get a score at least 1,200 to 1,300. You never got past 1,000. You signed up for November. What should you do to improve? B BI. Okay, so BI. Quick question: what resources have you used so far? Have you used Khan Academy? Have you used I don't know, College Panda? Have you used what's the Black Book? Like, what are the resources you've used so far? Have you used the QAS obviously as well? And what's your math class right now? So what grade are you? What math class are you in? And what's your grade in that math class if you're not uncomfortable sharing? Because I feel like you might want to work on the math is sort of my current hypothesis, but I'd like to hear a little bit more data from you before saying anything. Ooh, that's rough. Okay. Maybe you already have a. First, I strongly suspect if you have a D in AP Calc, you might benefit more from dropping out of AP Calc and taking the non-AP version of that class and just developing your fundamentals at a slower pace. I don't know if you have like a like tiger mom parenting philosophy in your house where you have to take the hardest course no matter how painful it is, but I strongly suspect the slower pace of a non-AP class will be much better for your learning. Now, you are a senior, so if you drop down right now, you're not going to learn enough. I don't think you're going to learn enough to catch up on all your fundamentals between now and December. Okay, so I don't think you're going to make a huge dent in your math fundamentals between now and then. But damn, but if you could at least get like a B on your GPA, for your application, for your midterm, how you have to send like a midterm report. Like if you at least get like a B for your math and show that you're trying to improve your math, like I think that would do more than the SAT, honestly. I think improving your GPA actually would probably have a stronger, larger impact on your application chances than your SAT, okay? So first thing I'm noticing is I think compared to the SAT, just dropping out of AP Calc and taking an easier math class and getting like a A even, aiming to get like an A in an easier math class could make a stronger impact. Now, that said, simultaneously, you drop to the non-AP class, to like maybe the regular honors class or something like that, and you try to get, and then you get that A in that class at a slower pace. and then after that, you also get, instead of what's your math right now? Your math is 420. You try to get like a 500 or 520 or above on the math, right? On the December, then I think that would be a pretty good strategy to get above 1,000. Oh, okay, so how do we work on that? I am not a math tutor, so I strongly recommend talking to some math YouTubers. And also, I'm not a find some math. Like if you have the money, but with math, thankfully, there's a lot of free tutoring too. Although it would be good to have experienced math tutors, but if you could get like a math tutor, that would be pretty ideal, because Dude, you really want to go to a tutor, and you don't want to just follow the tutor's pre-existing program. You want to have a tutor that's adaptable to you and to your level. A lot of times the free tutors are other high school students or like college students who are already good at math, so they will not understand you. They will not understand why you don't understand a concept. So the free tutoring might not work for you. I'm not sure unless you get someone who's really good at kind of like therapeutic communication, where they wait for you to fully explain your thinking so that they can finally understand what you're actually thinking, right? So even free tutoring might not be a good option for you because you might basically have a bunch of math geniuses who are like frustrated because they're like, why don't you get it, right? So that might be kind of a traumatic experience for you, if anything. So like shit. The best way to show you what I mean is actually for you to BL or BI or BL or whatever your name is. BL, do you have a couple math problems that you tried to solve recently that you couldn't solve? Because because honestly, that might it might be easier for me to show you what I mean than to actually explain what I mean. So if you want to come into the Discord server and share with me like a math problem, I am weak on calculus because it's been a long time. But even though I don't fully understand calculus, I can still show you what I mean about what kind of tutor you want to get. Whew. Oh, you heard my AirPods go off? Yeah. I need to turn it off. So some of you guys might hear a little bit of an echo from my computer, kind of feeding back into the mic. I'm going to try to keep the mic away from the computer, so you shouldn't get too distracted. But I'm also not really playing any audio, so it should be fine. Okay, now I'm going back to Daniel. Daniel was asking, is it possible to do a quick diagnostic and just get the general opinions, good or bad? Yeah, I mean, based on the hourly, like, if it's literally just straight up good or bad, that would take less than 15 minutes. That would take less than 15 minutes. I just read it and I do that. You know what? Like, we can do the diagnostic right away. So if you want the diagnostic, that's not going to take that much time. So it'd be very cheap. And then I'll give you ideas afterwards. I can give you ideas, and I will not waste your time. Like, I will not waste your time. I'm not gonna just like spend out of 30 minutes. I'm not gonna spend 10 minutes just being like if my brain is not working, I will tell you, okay, I will either not build that. I will not either. I'll either not bill it or I'll just pause the meeting and be like, okay, I think my brain's not working today, so I need a break, and I'll come back to you when I have ideas. Right? I can do that. So yeah, we can definitely have we can have a diagnostic. It'll take me like 15 minutes to 30 minutes, even if it's long. Stephen, did I happen to remember the thought that I had to say about your question about the Harvard SAT requirements? Actually, now we're so far away, and I'm sorry I forgot about it, Stephen, that I no longer remember what that thread was. But Stephen, can you just can you kind of summarize to me your response to everything I've said so far? If I hear your response, then I'll probably remember what to say next. So, Stephen, I said a bunch of things to you like an hour ago, right, or 2 hours ago almost. Like, give me your like kind of summary response. Like, what parts did you agree with from what I said? What parts did you maybe not agree with, or maybe you're not too sure of? In that. And that should be pretty helpful for getting through this. Now, going back to Daniel, who's asking me in the Discord chat, how much would it cost? How much would it cost for me to do a diagnostic? Like if it's 15 minutes. Oh wait, Daniel, were you thinking of doing this on stream, or were you going to do this privately, like the normal way, or are you going to do it streamed publicly? If there's a discount on stream, then stream. So the stream would be. Wait, what's I mean, $12.50 US dollars if it's 15 minutes, right? So $12.50 US dollars. We can make it we can make it a $15. We can make it $15 and then just go up to 30 minutes, just to get it out of the way. So $15 for 30 minutes for the initial diagnostic. And we'll just I'll just give you my feedback. And you know what? How about this? I'll give a refund guarantee. So I'll refund if you thought that you did not get anything useful from it. Like if you have nothing about the essay that you can change based on my feedback, I won't even charge you. So I'm pretty sure I'll find something. It'd be pretty shocking if I didn't. But yeah, if you think there's nothing that you would even change, you can be honest. It's fine. I'll refund it. So that's $15 for the initial diagnostic. Dhruv, you got a 1480 on the August. Let me just read this. Dhruv got a 1580 on the August. You're stressed, planning out every little minute detail. Planning every little minute detail or every little minute detail? I'm kind of confused by that sentence, but sure. Like you were sort of budgeting your time by minute because you're so time pressured. I think that's what you're trying to say. You took Dhruv, my South Asian friend. You took the test in English. In I don't know, in British English, do they say give the test? Is that a British English thing? Because I notice all my Indian friends are saying give the test. No. They take or sit. Yeah. So it's the same as American English. Okay. Whew. So just to all my Indian friends, please remember, you are taking the test and it's the teacher or the board that's giving the test, at least in American and British English. So going back to Dhruv, you took the October one with one practice test 2 days before and you got 1510. So I think Dhruv is just sort of confused. Why do I do better? Why do I do better when I don't care as much? And it's probably because you're more relaxed. You're more relaxed, and when you're relaxed, you're less prone to making like last minute changes to your test taking approach. When people freak out, when they panic, then they start changing the way they take the test in real time, and they don't even know it. They don't even notice it. They're like jumping around from B to A to C to A to D to B, and they're like going there, and then they're like reading little scraps of words. They're not even reading the full sentence. They're just looking for dingle, and they're just like they don't even notice that the subject and the verb are not agreeing because they're rushing for the dangling modifier, and so your thoughts get thrown into disarray when you're panicking, and you're no longer taking and approaching every single question in the same way. So when you do that, you're just gonna make a lot of mistakes. And when you're relaxed, when you're like, yeah, whatever, I'll probably do better this time. Let's see what happens. And you go in and with a pretty chilled out attitude, you just do better because you don't panic as much. I think it's a really important part of test taking. And I think that's a good thing to test, honestly. I think in life, you need to learn to deal with that pressure. So I think it's not like if we had an SAT that could just sort of like scan your brain and identify your literacy abilities and your math and your quantitative abilities. You could just scan your brain and you didn't have to do anything. You just have to sit there and get your brain scanned. I still think an actual paper test or like or digital test or whatever, a test that you have to take is still beneficial in the sense that, how do you deal with pressure? I think that's important. Maybe it's not so important that we shouldn't test tested for college admissions. Maybe the college admissions don't care about your test taking under pressure abilities, but I think in life it's important. I think you need to learn to deal with these kinds of things. I mean, job interviews are the same way. Sales calls are the same way. You have to deal with this kind of pressure. I mean, even like asking girls out or asking people out on dates, that's, you're dealing with pressure. And now I'm going back to Steven now. Also, let me just double check oh, no, yeah, we're good. So I'm going back to Steven now. I'll just have free rice open just as like a random back burner. You got to... Oh, Steven is filmmaking and you're trying to go for Harvard but not Yale? Why not Yale, dude? Documentary organization, provides competition opportunities, so I'm quite short on time. Actually, let me quickly scroll up to actually see the other thing that you shared earlier. Yeah, so, yeah, Harvard has more options. Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's an embarrassment of options, no matter which school you're at. But yeah, obviously Harvard has sort of the cachet that's a little different from Yale. I'm just thinking 1540 seems pretty solid. I mean, it seems like you're a pretty interesting... I mean, this is obviously an extremely selected, tiny slice of who you are. Maybe you're also an axe murderer, so like that would change my perception of you altogether. You work in film, you know how that works, right? You can bias people by your selective cropping of the scene. So maybe you are an axe murderer, right? But as long as you're not an axe murderer, and as long as there's no other weird red flags, and you're really, as long as the passion for filmmaking is pretty genuine and you have a lot of interesting experiences there, I would rather spend my fall semester like developing my extracurriculars, my other activities. I have an extremely basic, instinctive rubric for these things. Steven, what excites you more today? Do you feel excited about, like identifying more genre conventions in the science passages and breaking it down and being like, oh shit, yeah. Oh shit, I definitely should have, paid more attention to the experiment design, because if I just paid more attention to the experiment design, then I would realize there were actually 3 treatments, not just 2. And if I realized there were 3 treatments, then when I went to question 18, then I would have realized that answer choice B would definitely not have worked. I should have chosen C. And does that excite you more than the alternative? Right? The alternative doing, I don't know, whatever the hell you're currently doing with DocU, for example. Or are you just going to end up sleeping, by the way, just watching YouTube, right? That's the other hidden alternative, right? Just like kind of like in bed doing nothing. Like, out of those 3, right, I definitely think if you're not excited about DocU to be out there in the world, being busy and doing cool shit right now, and you'd rather just be at home, just like baking and just like watching dumb YouTube videos, then I would still be like, okay, studying for the SAT is better. I mean, it seems like you could still fill up some of that time. So at least sign up for the SAT so you can at least, have something to do, right? Like at least do something rather than nothing. But if you're sacrificing between something you're actually excited about for something you're less excited about, I would say, gut feeling, you should go with the thing you're more excited about. 1540 is I mean, it's, it's solid. For that though, now we're at the level of detail that I no longer feel SAT percentiles. I no longer feel extremely comfortable, right? Like saying what you should get, because 1540 is like awkwardly gray area where like you are Asian, documentary, and I'm just thinking, it's like kind of I feel for me, it feels pretty gray. So I think you need more opinions, not just mine. Yeah. Cause I'm going to say this again. I'm not an admission specialist. So don't feel confident just telling you what to do here. Yeah. I mean, Stephen, maybe one thing to ask for yourself is what's the minimum amount of prep that you can put into SAT and not feel like you would regret it? For example, between now, October 16th, and then December, like 8th or something, between now and then, if you're going to spend like, I don't know, like 20 minutes a day, you're going to solve like one passage per day, and you feel pretty happy about that, and you're like learning a little bit here and there, like maybe 20 minutes a day is worth it, just like not even maybe not even 5 days, maybe twice a week, 2 passages per week, something like that, and just like if that's worth it, it's worth it. Like what's like the smallest amount that you could put in and still feel like it was worth it, and it was worth taking another shot in December. If that smallest amount is too much and it's going to interfere with other things in your life, then I would say just go for the things that's more exciting. Because 1540 is like weirdly gray area where I think it makes sense. 1540 is solid. It's a solid score. So maybe one other thing you could do is you could do Chance Me. By the way, is kind of it's a double-edged sword. I mean, Chance Me, Chance Me, like. It's a lot of very, very aggressive comments sometimes and very depressing. It can be very depressing. So you have to be emotionally ready for this. And we'll see. Wait, where's the film guy? Multiplayer shooter, freelance designer. So you can, like when people just make a bunch of activities, it can make you feel a little insecure when you don't have as many activities as other people. But just learn to see through the bullshit, just the literal listing. Learn to see that sometimes you can do something but it doesn't really mean anything. So a lot of people, they have a lot of hollow experiences that they can't even fully develop. They can't when you ask them about what they learned through it, when you ask them about their struggles, what surprised them, what was something that they experienced that they never expected they would experience, right? Like when you actually get into details, they didn't learn anything. They weren't surprised. They didn't even have fun, right? Like those are hollow experiences, so you don't, and that does convey eventually through the essays. So be aware of those. But I would say 1540, it's a solid. Just kind of quickly skimming this. Not sure how to PM you, but I'm interested in becoming a tutor. Oh, I guess that's one way of becoming a famous tutor. Just take kids who are already going to get into Yale and be like, I tutored this Yale kid. I should do that. I'm such a shitty salesperson. I'm like, I don't even try these things, but I really should. Anyway, I mean, yeah, I guess, not interested in STEM does help. So, yeah, I think you have a lot of positive signals. I don't think you have a sure shot with that 1540, but it's not just your SAT score, so I wouldn't stress out too much about that. Yeah, if you think you can do 5 more full tests and just take one more shot, honestly, taking the SAT 3 times is not that embarrassing, so you could show Harvard and Yale all your scores. And I think showing them 3 scores, showing progression, 1490, 1540, and maybe 1560, hopefully, 15, even 1550 is actually not, like if you feel uncomfortable, you think you might actually drop because 1540 is actually, you got lucky on 1540. It's not because of your genuine abilities. You just sort of got lucky. It was a fluke. Then I would not take it again. Do not take it again. Okay. But if you feel comfortable, like, oh yeah, I'll take a couple more practice tests, squeeze it in. It won't sacrifice too much my rest of my life. And I'll just, and it's a low stress affair. I feel like I'm going to get about at least 1540 again, because I'm well prepared. Try one more time. It's sort of a throwaway. Just do it. Why not? Why not? That confidence, pay attention to where your confidence is leading you, okay? Your confidence is a very, very important physiological, okay, tool for you for figuring out what to do. So follow your confidence. All right, so I think that's almost all the questions. Although, we had another one over here. Marzipan. Sorry it took so long. Example, big challenge, word problems. Okay, this is flipped. Let me see if I can unflip this. I have to I'll just read it sideways. Okay. Yeah, no problem, Steven. A certain store sells televisions ranging in price from 500 to 5,000, increments of 500. Graph above shows the total number of televisions sold at each price during the last 12 months. Approximately how much more revenue did the store collect from the televisions it sold, priced at 3,500, than the television sold, priced at 1,000. So it's basic algebra. It's all good. So BL, I actually think it would be more beneficial if you could be in the stream. If you could be in the stream and actually chat with me, it would be more, it'd be easier to get through this. But the thing that so I'm happy to have you, what do you call it? I'm happy to have you unmute you for the stream if you're okay speaking with me for a bit. Let me know if you're okay with that. Okay, then BL, you should message, but you should message in Discord because on YouTube there's like a 5 to 10 second delay. And so it makes the conversation extremely challenging. So please start messaging in Discord through the streaming chat. You can access the streaming chat by clicking on open chat over here. Like hover your mouse over here and hit open chat. So I'm gonna need some way. Okay. So I need to look at this. So, Marsman, I want you to, oh, you can't narrate though. You can't use your voice. That's going to be hard because I can't even see anything or I can't understand anything. You have to type what I'm about to say, and I think that's going to be pretty ineffective, but let's try it, okay? Right now, my only goal is to show you what kind of tutoring you want. So you do not want the tutoring where I start telling you immediately what to look for. Like I could tell you immediately, this is algebra. Televisions ranging in price from 500 to 5,000. So there's 11 different televisions. Wait, there's more than 11, right? No, there's 11 televisions. And the graph above shows the total number. Wait, you didn't show me the graph? Oh, no, you did show me the graph. Shows the total number of televisions sold at each price during the last 12 months. And then I can tell you, again, as a tutor, I can start telling you exactly what calculation you need to do, but that's not what you want, okay? If I start telling you, okay, please multiply these two numbers and multiply these two numbers and tell me which one is greater. If I start guiding you like that, you're not gonna learn anything. You have to be more curious for yourself. You have to be more curious, and you have to be more hard on yourself, basically, to be like, wait, don't tell me. Let me try to figure it out. And you have to tell the tutor. Sometimes tutors will try to explain to you right away. You have to be like, wait, hold on, let me figure it out. And then when you try to figure it out, you ask them, I think I'm supposed to do this and then compare it to this. Is that correct? And then you look at your tutor's face, and then the tutor, depending on the tutor, may tell you yes or no, right? Or maybe like maybe, right? The ones that are pretty painful to deal with are the ones where like maybe, right? That one's kind of that really depends, right? Like at the beginning, when you're not very confident, the tutor shouldn't just say maybe. The tutor should just tell you what the answer is. But once you start developing your confidence, your tutor should learn to back off, to not just feed you the answers all the time. Okay. So then, if you look at this, I want you to explain to me. Okay. The question here is approximately how much more revenue did the store collect from the television it sold priced at $3,500 than it did from the television sold priced at $1,000? So you tell me, what are you supposed to be looking at in this graph? And what operations are you supposed to perform? What are you supposed to add? What are you supposed to multiply? What are you supposed to compare? What are you supposed to subtract? I will wait for your response. I will wait for your response in the chat. Meanwhile, while I'm waiting, I'll just play some free rise. No, I'm gonna do spelling bee because I was doing this earlier today. Koala? Cola? There's no L. Coma? Mohawk. I got Mohawk already. Okay. I'm gonna go back to you after I try to get one more word. Woot? I already did woot. Tooth? I already did tooth. Uncouth? Mouth? There's no... I already did moat. Waka. Who? Whom? I already got whom. Okay, I'll come back. Coming back to Discord. All right, Marzipan, where did you get... dude, that's so hard to read right now, but how much revenue was made? So how do you figure out how much revenue was made from 3,500? Can you tell me what operation you're supposed to perform and figure that out? Like, answer your own question. How much revenue was made from 3,000? Daniel, did I see your message? Which message? Looking for your message. I think I replied earlier, right? Daniel, this message over here, I definitely replied earlier on about the $15 for 30 minutes. Were you there to hear that response? Or are you talking about DMs right now? Marzipan, I'm going to keep waiting for you to tell me how to figure out the revenue. Meanwhile, I'm going to do spelling bee. Oh, when I could start? I could probably... today is really hard because I have to move. Like I have to literally move houses. But it looks like the stream is winding down. Let me see. What time is it right now in New York? It's 11 in New York. What is it? 11:40. So it's looking like awkwardly it's winding down. No one's sharing SAT scores anymore. So maybe that's the end of the stream. If I end the stream, actually no, realistically today I don't think I'll be able to do it, but maybe tonight, I can't promise, but maybe tonight, depends on how smoothly the move goes. If it doesn't go smoothly, then what I'll do is tomorrow I can definitely commit. Okay, so can you, Marzipan, you're supposed to subtract the number of televisions sold by the number of televisions sold at 1,000. So tell me exactly what two numbers are you subtracting? And so show me X minus Y, and then tell me what that equals. X minus Y. So which one is X and which one is Y? Nobody. I'm reading this sideways, but basically, if we go up, all right, that's 150. 170, is that 175? It looks like 150 to me personally, but and then 250. Is this the 1,000? 250? Okay, that's 250. It's all good. I mean, that's good enough. You don't need to take another picture because we're actually at the end. So let's just assume that X is equal to, so so you're telling me it's 250 minus 175, right? Minus 175, which is equal to 75. So you're telling me the answer is 75, yeah? And look at the answer choices. So I'm showing the answer choices. What's the answer choice now? It's not in there. It's true. So something must have gone wrong. So I want you to reread the question stem, specifically the questions here, the question words here. So I'm going to read this. It's vertical, I know, but approximately how much more revenue did the store collect from the televisions it sold priced at $3,500 than it did from the televisions sold priced at $1,000? So can you tell me some of the key words? What are the key words in this sentence? Just list as many keywords as you can find. These keywords should help you understand why your answer has no connection to the answer choices. Total during the last 12 months. Now, I'm going to be more helpful today, okay? I'm going to be more helpful today because I'm going to give you feedback on all of your keywords. Total during the last 12 months just describes this graph, and it probably comes up, like you actually didn't share it in your picture, but it probably comes up in the title of the graph, okay? So that's helpful, but it's not the most important. I would say something else. What are some other keywords? What are some other keywords in that graph, in that question? Ooh, no. Approximately just means that you don't need to have, like, you're not going to try to do 251, right? The 1,000 doesn't equal to 251. It just means 250. We're just doing an approximation. So approximately is just a basic format of math questions where they're telling you don't freak out about the exact like pixel perfect images. That is not a keyword. Not for this question. It's a generic feature of all math questions. It's interesting though that you fixated on approximately, because you're not. What I'm noticing is that you're not immediately going towards the variables that you're looking for. Okay. Interesting, because that's kind of weirdly a summary, but you're not actually pointing out, you're summarizing, but you're not giving me the keywords themselves. So this summary is the dangerous thing, where you're taking a shortcut in your head, and the shortcut in your head is the thing that's making you get this question all wrong. Your shortcut is you're actually skipping some of the keywords that the question is actually asking about. You're not really reading from the text. You're actually reading from your own brain, your own summary version in your brain. And I think you're summarizing in your brain because you're simplifying it for yourself so you can understand it better. But you're simplifying it too much, and now you're missing a major idea that's super important for this question. Okay, it looks like you might be a little lost. Okay, so you can say, hold on, I can find the keyword on my own, and then you can ask me again, or you can say, I give up. Please tell me. Marzipan, do you want to keep going, or are you giving up? Okay, holding on. Close, but not exactly. So when I say keywords for graph questions, the natural thing that you should be looking for is words that correspond to the y-axis and the x-axis, okay? And also to the values in between. So now, if you look, for example, at this question stem, which, stem is kind of the wrong word now, but if you look at the question, the actual question itself, it says, how much more revenue did the store collect? So the first thing I'm looking for, the first keyword is revenue. And we're collecting it from the revenue from the 3,500. So 3,501, sorry, I'm actually supposed to look here. Sorry, I was looking at the graph on accident. Televisions, it sold priced at 3,500. So television is sold priced at 500. So the second one is TVs priced at 3,500. Okay, that whole thing, I'm just shortening it, but it does mean the same thing. Televisions, it sold priced at 3,500. That's the second keyword. And then the third keyword over here for me is then the television, it sold priced at 1,000. TVs priced 1,000. Now, two of these you already got, okay? You got these two. TVs sold at 3,500. You also got TVs sold at 1,000. You got those two. And those are directly connected to two notches in the graph. You're focusing on this notch, the 3,500 on the x-axis, and then the 1,000 on the x-axis. But what's the value you're looking for? Okay, can you try to, using what I've told you so far, can you try to use these three keywords and try to figure out what's the error with your original thinking and what should you be correcting to? That's kind of weird. You did look at the values from the graph from what I remember. Can you elaborate a little bit further? Because I thought you did look at the values from the graph. You looked at 3,500 and you saw 175, which still looks to me very... Am I crazy? That kind of looks like 150 to me. Anyway, and then you looked at 1,000 and you saw 250. Those are the values you saw on the graph. So what do you mean by that error? Okay, so how are you going to get this right now? Like, actually, let me do a quick confidence check. Confidence. How confident are you that right now, if I just left the room, you can get the correct answer now from 0 to 10, where 0 is least confident and 10 is high, most confident? How confident are you that if I just left the room right now, you can get the correct answer on your own? I think it should be low. You seem low, but I can't see your face. I can't hear your voice. Okay, there we go. All right. At this point, I will have to help. I'm going to help. I'm going to jump in, okay? Before I jump in, do you want to try one more thing or should I just jump in? Okay. What does revenue mean? So I'm looking at how much money something makes. So I have a question. If I sell a TV and it's priced at 3,500 and I sell 10 of them, then how much revenue did I make? Just give me a second. Marzipan, what did you just hear that you answered it 35 million? What did you just hear? What was the question you just heard from me that you answered that question 35 million? Meanwhile, I'm going to quickly answer Wesley. What are the next steps? Wesley, sorry, I don't fully understand your question. So if you can elaborate, it would be helpful. But for you guys, if you're just joining the stream, we've been going on a very long stream. So I'm going to actually wrap up probably after I help Marzipan. But if you're not able to share your STT score today, if you're not able to do that, you guys can come back to the comments section and I will give you my replies in the YouTube comments next time. Okay. Whew. So first of all, Marzipan, I think there's a typo because I said 3,500, not 35,000. But it does seem like you are a little it seems like you're a little weak on converting verbally words into numbers, okay? That transition is very slow for you. So when I say 3,500, it should automatically feel like this. Now, I have a question, Marzipan. Are you, by any chance, Chinese or Korean or Japanese? Are you by any chance using, because we use in Korea, and I think also in China and Japan, I'm not 100% sure, we use a system of 4 digits where we switch the unit after 4 digits, not 3, not thousands, but 10,000s. So that's our base for our counting systems. You're African black. So are you in America? So you are more, are you fluent in English? Or are you mainly fluent in a different language? Okay. Then what it is it's not a language issue. I was thinking maybe it was a language issue, but for you, it looks like 3,500, right? When I said 3,500 in your head, you need to visualize that as 3,500 very, very quickly. Then when I say 10 units, okay? Ooh, dollars per unit. Okay, then when I say 10 units, you have to multiply by 10. So somehow you actually ended up multiplying 3,500 with 1,000, and then you got 3.5 million. Okay, so something happened there where you actually got to 3 million instead of 3,500, and it seems to be some problem somewhere with like the transition from like verbal description to like numerical description. I'm actually not a specialist in math education, so I don't know how to help you with this one. What do you know so far about this problem? Like you've probably experienced this problem in your past. What can you tell me that you know about regarding this problem? Daniel, I think I said this earlier, but I do want to, maybe we missed this. I can definitely do it by tomorrow, and I can maybe do it by tonight. Can you? I think the best thing to do is move this over to the DMs, because today I have to move. I have to move houses, so it's going to be kind of a big day for me. Okay, you have to turn it into an equation. You do. But when I said if you sell 10 units of TVs priced at 3,500, you should have thought 3,500 times 10 is equal to 3,500, right? So this is what you should have gotten. What can you next time to answer my sub question, okay, because this is not the main question for the problem that you're showing me. Next time, if you want to get this correct on your own, what do you need to do? Place values. That's, yeah. Yeah. That's not a math term I use, but it is from like back in the day, right? So I think that's correct. Now let's go back to revenue. What happened? I'm going to show you the image from the original picture, from the original question. Approximately how much more revenue did the store collect from the television it sold, priced at 3,500, than it did from the television it sold, priced at 1,000? Next time, to understand this question correctly, what's the thing you need to notice? That's true, and specifically, you need to know when the word revenue comes out that you need to perform an operation on it. You have to multiply what with what. For revenue, what do you have to multiply? Specifically, not with 10. The 10 is just an example number I made. Specifically, it's the unit price times units sold. Okay, so what's the unit price? So looking at the graph, where's the unit price? Is it the x-axis or the y-axis? Okay, and then the units sold is y-axis. So what that means is for 3,000, so basically you need to figure out how many TVs were sold at 3,500, and you told me that's 175, right? So what should you do with 3,500 and 175? You should, actually, I'm going to answer this because I think it's pretty straightforward, and I want you to move on to the next task. You should multiply 3,500 with 175, which gives you total revenue, okay? But that's not what the question is asking about. The question is not asking about 3,500 versus 175. It's asking about, okay, how much more revenue did the store collect from the 3,500 one compared to the 1,001. So this might be actually a little advanced for you, but Marzipan, can you try to give me the solution? X equals, and then can you tell me the formula using 4 numbers? Okay, there are 4 numbers. It uses multiplication and addition, or sorry, multiplication and subtraction. Multiplication and subtraction. 4 numbers to tell me the difference, okay, in the revenue from the $3,500 TV revenue and the $1,000 TV revenue. Can you try to write out the formula for that? I think this will be pretty tough for you, but we'll see. Four numbers, 4 values, multiplication and subtraction. That is correct. That's absolutely correct. And that should be the correct answer, so I'm actually going to do that. Now, that's 362,500. 362,500. So let's go and double check the answer choices. Is that there? 362,500. It's not there, right? So what's the error? Do you know what the error is? This is kind of a minor error. I actually alluded to this error multiple times. I mentioned it multiple times. Marzipan, for some reason, spatially, when you look at 3,500, for some reason, okay, you are connecting it to 175 instead of 150, even though to me, I'm reading this like sideways and I can tell it's 150. So let's actually change the formula to 150. Okay. Like this, and then I'm going to put that into Google Chrome, and you'll see the calculation over here. 275,000 is the difference. 275,000 is the difference, and is that an answer choice? That is an answer choice. That's answer choice C. Okay. Yeah, that does. That happens a lot. I bet it does. I bet it does. What is your solution for that? Because you gotta make a change. If you do not make a change, and you approach these graph questions the same way that you are currently doing it, then you would be crazy to assume that it's going to get any better. You have to make a change for your reading of graphs to change. So what's the change that you need to make? I think that's a little abstract. I'm not very happy with that change. I think you need to use a ruler. Spatially, okay, I don't know what it is specifically about you, but spatially, when you look at graphs, you don't see horizontal lines very clearly. Like you can't kind of, I actually want you, example, I don't know, quadratic graph. Okay, so for me, okay, this is, I don't know if it's genetic, I don't know if this is a trained thing, I'm not 100% sure, but when I see this 4, okay, I can roughly see that it's between 6 and 7, even if you get rid of all of these hatch marks, or what do you call this? These cross. What do you call these actually? So for me, even if these little lines, these little gray lines were invisible, if they kind of erased all of them, I would still be able to see it pretty clearly. And it's a skill that I have. So for here, right? For here, I would be able to tell you from 2 to 2, this is definitely less than 2. I would be able to tell you from 4 to 2, this is definitely 2, 4. The coordinate here is 2, 4. I can tell you this, and I can do it very confidently. But for you, for some reason, there's something that's wrong. I think for you, though, you might be able to make an improvement if you literally just use a ruler for now until you get used to it. What do you think about this? Have you ever done something similar? Harry, what's up? By the way, guys, welcome to the stream. Right now, I'm talking to Marzipan, who is what's it called? Who's struggling to increase his math to above 500. He's actually in AP Calc, but getting not a passing score in AP Calc. So he's in a very hard class for math, but I'm noticing that a lot of his fundamental math skills, his quantitative skills, are not really developed, which is why it's hard to get above 500 on the math. I am strongly recommending that he gets tutoring. And right now I'm trying to tell him, don't just get free tutoring where you get free tutoring from like math geniuses who will not understand what you're struggling with. I'm trying to tell him like what kind of tutoring, or her, sorry. I'm trying to tell her what kind of tutoring she should be looking for. Thank you, Marzipan, for correcting. My male bias is showing. I think it's just because there's so many dudes on my channel. But anyway, Marzipan, she's struggling on math, and I'm trying to show her like what kind of tutoring I think she should be going for, because if you go for free tutoring, you're going to end up getting a bunch of math geniuses who are just doing it to kind of like as volunteering, and they're not going to understand, they're not going to sympathize with your errors. So one thing I learned from streaming this actually, and actually kind of going through a problem with Marzipan, is actually that Marzipan has a couple problems that I noticed. And Marzipan, I think this is true, but you let me know what you think, okay? The first one is the transition from verbal, like English descriptions of numbers, to actually like quantitative, like numbers, numerical representations, okay, of those ideas. It's not fast for you. It's actually kind of painful. Maybe not painful, if that's maybe too exaggerated, but like it takes you a little bit of effort. For that, I think you need to make a change. The second thing I noticed is when you're looking at a graph, you kind of, you don't see the horizontal and vertical lines that are invisible. So you have to actually make it visible to yourself. And again, I think you have to make a change. We talked about the second one. We said that you could use a ruler. And I have a question for you, Marzipan. If you were to use a ruler, what would be beneficial? What might be beneficial for you? Like, how would that help you think? Daniel, got you. Thank you for the follow-up. Harry, I think what you're saying could be misread as condescending, so let me just Marzipan, I want you to ignore Harry for the moment. Just focus on me for the moment. Harry does not mean ill, but I do think it could be a little sensitive for somebody who hasn't been good at math since it was a long time ago. Okay, so if the ruler feels helpful, I want you to try the ruler and see how much that helps you, okay? Because the thing is, you want to get rid of, like, you want to not make those mistakes like ASAP. You want to get past those sort of like graphing mistakes ASAP. So visually and spatially, you want to be able to see you want to be able to see the lines quickly. Okay. So I don't know if a full foot ruler, there's mini rulers, there's like smaller rulers that will fit on one page. Don't use a full foot ruler because it's so cumbersome. You're not really going to use it. Try to use a small ruler that can fit on one page so that you can kind of quickly just like do real quick scans. And if you don't have a ruler, it's okay. You can just use an index card. An index card, like literally just use it. Now, this is not an index card, but this would be about the size of an index card, right? Like just slide that index card around. The problem is it's not transparent, so it's a little harder to read the graph when you're using an index card. But if it's even if it's not transparent, if you can just use it right away, use it to try to see the lines more accurately. Now, going back to the previous one with the converting the numbers, I said 3,500 times 10, basically, right? How much revenue do you make if you sell 10 TVs priced at 3,500, and then you wrote 3500000. So something went wrong there. What change can you make next time when somebody is verbally talking to you and they're telling you a number and you need to make a quick calculation on the fly? What's the difference, or what's a change you can make to make sure that you do that better next time? Harry? Okay. Yeah, I also have to go soon too. So thanks for joining at the last moment. So that's I think that's not bad. But the problem about Marzipan, I think I have a major concern about the second half. Okay. Make sure to think about it before answering. This is the kind of phrase that you might have heard, and many students, like almost everybody, has heard a million times since they were like in elementary school. Make sure to remember, make sure to think, right? But the problem is it's all mental. It's abstract. It's not something you could physically do. It's not like dribbling a ball. It's not like, stringing a violin. It's not like physical. It's just in your head. And when people give you like mental abstract commands, they're frustrated and they're telling you, think before you speak. But it can also be equally frustrating for you because it's hard to remember to do that. And also it's not something that you can feel happening. It's very hard, So I actually like the first part a lot more. Repeat the question that was asked, but I think I can do you one better. Okay? This might be really uncomfortable at first, but I want to hear what you think about this. When you're doing anything in school, academic, look here. So let's actually, before I generalize to academic things, I want to start with numbers. When you're trying to make calculations about numbers, I want you to write the number that you are hearing immediately with commas. I think putting commas every 3 digits is going to help you a lot. Okay? 3,500. I want you to write it with a pencil on some scratch piece of paper or something like that, and do it on the side, and then make the calculation and just immediately make the conversion from ear to brain to hand. Okay? Ear, brain, hand, ear, brain, hand, ear, brain, hand, and make that as fast as possible. Because then that makes it a very physical process. It's not just all stuck in your head. Okay? It's coming out in your hands and onto the paper. If you do that, then when people throw out numbers at you, I think it should feel less overwhelming. Okay? Ear, brain, hand, because now it's coming out of you. It's going somewhere. What do you think about this? Okay, and I have a question then. it looks better to do math in your head. So you try doing it in your head. Can you give me a review? Like, which one was better? Now you've tried both products. You've tried the iPhone, you tried the Android. Which one was better? Okay, you tried it by writing out. You tried to write it out by hand all the time, and then you tried calculating in your head. What was better for you? Then do it. Do what's better for you. Just because someone else says it's better doesn't mean it's better for you. Do the one with the writing, and I think you'll get less lost with the numbers. I'll be honest with you. I was honestly a little shocked that when I said 3,500, 10 units, or they sold 10 TVs at 3,500, I was a little shocked at hearing your answer. But now that I think through your process, I think it's very reasonable to make that kind of mistake if the numbers are coming in through your ear, and they're coming into your brain, but then they get stuck in your brain and they're sort of overheating and it's just sort of circulating in your brain, but it doesn't come out right because it just sort of got distorted somewhere over here since you're trying to hold on to it, okay? If that was the case for you, I think it's very reasonable that that's an error that you can be making. So then how do you get it out of your head? Like, how do you get it out of the overheated sort of cycle in your head? Put it out on paper, okay? And get that habit. Ear, brain, hand, and it'll get, I think, a lot smoother over time. Eventually, maybe your ear, brain, hand will get so automatic, so what do you call it? So fast, okay, so fast and smooth and automatic that eventually you don't even need your hand anymore. You can just do it in your head. But that might be far off in the future. For now, accept that you need to use the writing, and that's more helpful at the moment. So use that for now. Whew. Yeah. Yeah, I think, I don't know what this Calculia is. So I'm going to look it up real quick. But if you do have that, this Calculia. Yeah, I think if you have that, but you want to have a stronger performance on quantitative, subjects, then you have to work with. No one is perfect in this world, right? So people find ways to compensate for their weaknesses, and I do the same. I have horrible memory, so I take notes all the time when I need to remember anything. So everyone has their own unique sets of weaknesses, and the way to excel in the world is to find counteracting mechanisms that compensate for those weaknesses, so that those weaknesses don't hold you back. The weaknesses that you have will not be your strong, like that. They will not be the thing that you shine on. Obviously, you're just going to compensate for them enough so that your other strengths will shine. So maybe you will not be an engineer, which is okay. But if you want to improve on basic quantitative skills, I think you need to learn to use the tools that are available for you, which I think, could be writing and a ruler and, other very basic things like that. And hopefully that helps you feel at least a little bit more confident on some of the basic algebra questions and the graph questions that come out on the SAT. Okay, guys, it is 11:18. I'm actually kind of late. I need to start preparing by getting ready for lunch. And then moving. I need to move to a house, so I'm finally out of the hotels. Finally going to a house. So, guys, I'll see you guys. In the next stream. I see a quick thing from Harry. Harry, right now I'm just a little overwhelmed because I am 18 minutes behind time. I need to go eat lunch in a hurry. So, hey, Harry, I think you left this on a comment somewhere, but I'll reply. Okay, I'll reply when I get time, sometime in the Discord server, sometime later. Okay. All right, guys. Marzipan, also, I hope that this helps you understand what kind of tutoring you should be looking for. You might be able to find free tutoring that can accommodate you, but a lot of it is, especially if it's free tutoring, you need to sort of like kind of guide it a little bit. You need to be like, hold on, don't explain. Let me try it, right? Use that. Most tutors will like that because they can feel that you're genuinely interested and you're trying to think about it, okay? So if you're using tutoring, you have to make it work for you by kind of doing things like that, okay? if you're going to find a paid tutor, you might be able to find a paid tutor who can kind of guide you through like your thought process and not just judge you from afar. It's like, well, how come you don't get this, right? You don't want that kind of tutor. That kind of tutor is not worth your time. It's not worth your money. It's not worth your energy. Okay. You need a tutor who can understand the struggles that you're feeling from your perspective. And so sometimes when a tutor is naturally gifted at math, they're not going to understand you. So you gotta yeah, find the right tutor for you, or make the right tutor for you. Like train your tutor to tutor you correctly. All right, that's it for me. Guys, if you wanted to share your SAT score, but you are not able to because you weren't subscribed, you can still leave a comment in the comments below. I'll come back to it when I have time. Today, I got to move. It's my moving day. Got lots of stuff ahead of me, so I got to go. All right, guys. Everybody, as always, I'll see you in the next stream. And until then, keep on learning, keep on growing. Peace out, guys.